Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinion how to live. So let's create things for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome, folks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another show. John Mondragon has become a member right there on my screen right as we log in. How about that? Good deal. All right, let's see who we got in here. R. Allen seems to have been the first guy making it in tonight. Then Based Street Racer, BSR, the man himself, one of our mods. Chino Prime, I see you out there. 13 Bujicon, I see you out there. I saw you come in. I was actually in the back. I was in the back when you guys came in. I heard you talking smack out there. All right, let's see. We've got to scroll down a little bit here. 13 Bujicon. He had a lot of fun there. Look at that. Whoa, went too far. Ghost 1978 in the house. See ya. Only here to cause trouble. That's okay. We get that a lot, actually. Get that a lot. Grunge Head. TR Finley. The Jesse Ventura part was really good, actually. Ghost, that was pretty awesome. You guys are having a great little conversation in there. There we go. Seriously, Shelby, another mod in the house. That's great. WMD, my loyal bot, is in the house. Fredo Fonzarelli has made it in. That's awesome. Good to see you, sir. Michelle is in. Michelle, mod. one of the mods doing a good job. Felix in the house. Yo, what is up, Felix? All right. All right. Everybody here. OPC Don, yes, we're over 13K now. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. Kronos 420 gifted 5 gifted memberships. We're going to talk about memberships here in a second, guys. The Vengeful Truther, Nick, my man, in the house. Warren Hells, I have not seen you here before, but you got a membership. Good job, sir. You were in the house as well. We see you now. Stank D back in the house. I've seen you here before. John Mondragon back in the house. Snow in the house. I've seen you somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Chaotic Truth in the house. Chaotic, I know that you are doing a show tonight, but if you would like the link, you just let us know. We will get that to you, sir. We will get that to you. And yes, sir, get those likes up, gentlemen. Get those likes up. We have the best chat out. Will, I see you, man. I see you out there. You can't slip by. We're going to go down the list. Check it twice. All right, good guy. Good to see you guys. Good to see you all. My man. All right. Guys, change comes to us all. We're going to talk about that tonight. The first thing we're going to talk about, though, first thing I have to talk about is I have been talking for the last couple of weeks and a few episodes, to be honest with you, about how I needed to do something, memberships, want people to be members, want people to be a part of the show, want people to feel like they belong to part of the community in and of itself. And memberships is a good way to do that. I need some feedback from you guys. You can do that via PM on Discord or in the main chat and have a discussion about it. I would love to hear feedback as far as what kind of membership perks you guys might want. But I think I'm going to run a membership drive based around the idea that if you're every month, we will draw from the people that have been members for 6 months, and I will give away some sort of prize packet. It'll vary from month to month, although mostly I think it's going to be merch because that is coming hopefully sooner than later. Currently, it is actually out of my hands. I wish it wasn't, but it is. So as soon as it is back in my hands, I will we'll make some stuff happen. So yeah, unfortunately, guys, I got some of the designs. I've got them mostly done. It's in the hands of the screen printer guy to see how he's going to do it. He's got to shoot me over a quote. I mean, I don't know if you guys have done this dance before. He's going to shoot me a quote. I'm going to tell him it's way too high. He must be smoking crack. And then he's going to come back and say that he can't do it any cheaper than this. And I'm going to say, yeah, you can. We're going to go back and forth about 3 times. And finally, we're going to be somewhere around about half of what he wants to charge me. And I'm going to be happy with that. He's going to be happy with that. And at the end of the day, it'll be good. So guys, here's a Discord link. There you go. Discord link. Go ahead over there and join and be part of the community. It is a community. The guys over there have a lot of fun. They talk a lot of smack. So don't bring your feelings with you. I build a set of wiggly wagons in Detroit right now. May not hear until I'm done. I got you, brother. I got you. Yeah. I bought your membership. All right, good. I'm glad I bought something with something. Seriously, guys, I need some better ideas about how how to do what makes a good membership package. I'm going to be working with the same guy that does Clover Tax patches, um, to come up with some really cool patches. We're going to make that happen. And there's just a lot of stuff coming down the pike. As soon as I can make it happen, I'm making it happen. Mostly it's just time that I devote to other things. So, and Will, you're right. The merch guy is not going to be super happy about it, but I'm going to pay in advance. He's not going to have to do one-offs or small batches. I'm basically going to buy. I'm going to basically buy probably 15 or 20 of every size and color that I'm going to offer. They'll be right here on the shelf. So if you order a shirt, I get it out to you, or a hoodie or whatever, girl shirt, whatever it is. I'll get that out to you basically as soon as as soon as mail runs, hopefully. So I'm getting all that set up. This takes time because I have other things to do, and there's a very specific way it needs to be done, so it's easy in the future and not hard. But yes, you're right. He won't be happy about it, but he will also at the same time be happy because business is business, and I happen to know he's going to overcharge me right out of the gate because that's what he does. So that's the membership stuff, guys. Really, really happy with the way the channel is going. We seem to be having better live viewer counts, which is great. Now, obviously, most of that is on me. If I put on a good show, we get good viewer count. If I suck, we have a low viewer count, and so I can't really, can't really blame anybody but myself for that. So I don't. And we're just going to suck it up and drive on. Hopefully we can, we've been able to more or less average about 50 live viewers over the past few weeks. That's on the low side. I would really like to see 100, 150. We need to just pump these numbers up. And most of that, obviously, it falls on me because if I say good stuff, people will listen. If I start talking about random shit, probably not. But yeah, but if you guys can think of anything that makes a membership worth the money, I'd really like to hear it, because in my mind, I don't really care. The membership's like a very small portion, right? I set my membership at $5 a month because it's less than basically right now a good cup of coffee, right? So it's less than your daily Starbucks, and it's once a month. It's not that big a deal. So I'm that's just like, you're here, you get some cool stuff by your name. I pay more attention to members when the chat starts rolling. I think it's okay that I admit that. That's cool stuff. Hi, Tiny. How are you? I still have not asked Brian about that, but I will. I will do that. Welcome, Tiny, to the show. The middle section is where I think we're going to start giving things away. I think I go from $5 to $10, and then from 10 to 15. I do want to give more value for the money than most people do. I really want to. So I want to make it an easy thing, right? So good evening, Viking Paradigm. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. I really don't have a lot more than that. Other than that, guys, if you can, again, I'm actually starting to spend real money on the show. With the merch, with paying designers and stuff like that. Anything that can flow back into it helps me out. ZD Den has gifted another 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that, ZD Den. That really helps out a lot. Gifting memberships, super chatting, all of that. That's great stuff. If you want, I do need to lower the TTS. Let me see if I can do that now. I need to lower the TTS so that I want to lower it to $10. And I just think that'll be fun. Yeah, here we go. Give me 1 sec, guys. I wouldn't normally try and do that. I wouldn't normally try and do this during the show, but you know, we'll see. I want to set it so that the TTS for YouTube is YouTube and Streamlabs is $10. But I think I have to do that tomorrow. All right. Well, I will make it work, guys. I apologize. I should not have tried to do that. I think I'll have to do it later. But at any rate, I tried. We'll make it work later. Yeah, there we go. So, anyway, guys, welcome truck driver. Welcome Dwayne Martin. I see you out there. Welcome Raw Dog, Strange Days, Kyle Parker, and all of you guys that are listening. $20. Why did that not TTS? That should TTS. We'll give it a second to catch up. Sometimes when it's got a lot going on, it messes up. So. May have to wait till the gifted subs goes through Kronos, but let's hear it happen. Tech is great when it works, but it normally will TTS. Yeah, I think it does. It may take it a second. I'll re-trigger it anyway. It's fine. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Also, thank you. Can't talk. Welcome and thanks, Kronos, again for the $20 super chat. That is great. It will trigger momentarily, but I'll go ahead and read it. Oi, LFG. Let's fucking go. Prayers and well wishes to Glenn. Am I right, y'all? Yes. Glenn may make it on tonight. He talked to me earlier. He requested that I send him a link. I have done so. If he's up to it, I told him to come on. If he's not, I told him to go to bed. Let's let the man rest without disturbances. Yes, that's basically what I told him, was that, it was totally cool if he wanted to do that. But there we go.
KR0N05420 donated $20, super chat. Oi, LFG prayers and well wishes to Glenn. Am I right, y'all? But let's let the man's rest without disturbances.
Yeah. All right, guys. Again, Kronos, man, I really, really appreciate the super chat. Again, like I said, unfortunately, the show is actually starting to cost real money. So anything you guys can do to help will be great. Stephen Aker, what happened to Glenn? Well, we don't know the exact cause of it. Glenn may know. He has not shared that with me. What we do know is that Glenn had a blood clot, probably from his leg, make its way to his lungs. So he had at least one, possibly more blood clots in his lungs. And they put him on blood thinners. He will now be on blood thinners the rest of his life, according to his doctor. He has been discharged from the hospital. It was not his choice. I'm sure that he will be glad if he makes it on. He'll be glad to talk to you guys about that. But he was discharged. He did not discharge himself from the show. Can I get a mod to throw the link out for Chaotic Truth if he wants to come up? Chaotic, you're welcome to come up. We'll do this. they'll put it out there, and then as soon as you click on, we'll delete the link. If somebody could just throw out the Streamlabs link, that would be great. Yes, Angry Casper, his work is not done yet. Angry Casper, you are welcome to come up tonight as well. I feel like that it would be good to talk to you this evening. John Deadman, yes, this is also a possibility. It very well could be part of or due to the car crash that he did suffer not long ago. We all know that he really didn't. We all know that he really did not allow himself time to heal. Although I'm sure he will dispute that. I just don't think that he did, and I feel like that he's a he's a fighter, and I think maybe he went too hard too fast, and I think it it cost him a little bit. So. I sent the link out to a lot of guys tonight, but here I'll go ahead and I'm going to give it to a few more people. There we go. I'm also going to put this out in the chat mods when once it has been once CT is clicked in. If he chooses to go ahead and kill it. So. All right, cool. And all right, yeah. So guys, I talked to Glenn earlier. He gave me a call. We talked about some things, and one of the subjects, and I'd already kind of been thinking about doing this specific show about life changes, man, and it changes whether you want it to or not. It changes whether you're ready for it, and sometimes it just is what it is. In Glenn's case, I think we've all said that he should move out of California. He has a lot going on. He's under a lot of stress. It's very expensive to live there. And, between all of the ways that he makes ends meet, no mods can remove my message. All right, I'll do it. Whoops. All right, let me, I don't know that he's clicked in yet. CT, do you have the link? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get this done. My bad. All right, if I need to put it back up there, I'll put it back up there. All right, guys. Hopefully, Chaotic has the link. Angry Casper, you also are welcome to come up today. Yeah. So, personally, I think that Glenn needs to move to Atlanta, Dallas, maybe Tennessee, maybe Nashville. There's a lot of streamers in Nashville that he knows and can work with. Same thing in Atlanta. Atlanta has become a kind of a hotbed for streamers. So that's a big deal there. So yeah. Yeah, so the thing is that I think that yeah, he could do he can do music videos. I mean, Atlanta has a massive amount of of Atlanta has a massive amount of movies, TV shows, productions going on. And so yeah, that's true, but they retire there. See, the thing is it's very hard to make money there, and Glenn has to make money. He's not ready to um uh yeah, chaotic may not be able to come by pop on, guys. Um but yeah, there's so many movies and so many films being made out of Atlanta in that and in the South in general. It's a big industry. Um and the I don't know. I don't know where I know that he has confided in me several times that he needs to get out of California. It seems like every time he gets a little money ahead to where he can make that happen, um, that it kind of goes sideways. We'll let him speak on that. I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. There's always OF. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Glenn could pull an OF. That'd be interesting. Um, but yeah. So is Angry Casper? Do you want to come up, buddy? Or um, yeah, only facts. Yeah. And I think Glenn is leaning more orthodoxy and more, if not orthodoxy, more patriarchal type Christian, which is not what you find very much of in California. So, so well, I'm not sure Glenn's going to come up, Angry Casper, but you're welcome to come up if you would like. Um, so yeah, good times all around. Might be the gear. Yeah. So at any rate, yeah, Glenn may or may not be on. When he sounded tired when I talked to him, we'll see. We'll see where he's at. Um, yeah, yeah. I think he was looking at the last time I talked to him. He was looking at Dallas or somewhere in Texas. Um, I know he's got a couple of friends there. Nashville, because all the podcasters are here, and maybe like Florida or somewhere like that. But so yeah. Yeah, if he comes up, he'll speak on it. If not, we don't know. I just think that he's spoken about it many times, and I think that, um, yeah, I don't know. This may be the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. Florida, depending on where you're at, is an interesting state. So, anyway, guys, where are we at? Where are we at time wise? Yeah, keep going. Glenn, come to Florida. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Angel Berber, man, I don't know. I feel like Glenn's kind of feels trapped. I think that, his business that he is into and does and everything that he intends on doing, most of that stuff it's easiest to do work in the area that he's in, and it's hard to dude, it sucks when you have to move across country for work. It sucks more if you have work and you need to move across country for quality of life. I've done both of those things, and it is rough, man. And change is just change is just part of life. Now we're picking on Glenn here for a minute. But at the end of the day, we all have change in our lives, and there's always change that causes there's always some change that's right around the corner, whether you want it to be or not, whether you think it's going to be or not. There's going to be change. And whether or not you want to face it, whether or not you want to admit it, whether or not you want to call it for what it is, all we've got is change. Sometimes we can control that change. Sometimes we cannot. Right now, we've got an election going on, right? And if you haven't early voted, I don't know what you're doing, but you probably should have. If you're waiting until the last minute to vote, God help you. I wouldn't do that. And I don't know how to go about it. I'm going to start this. I'm not going to back up. I'm going to move sideways a little bit here. One of my favorite things of all time, one of the most consistent things that I had in life when I was growing up, and when I say growing up, from teenager, college student, early adulthood, all the way up until just a few years ago, one of the most consistent things I had in my life was this fellow named Rush Limbaugh on the radio. And Rush Limbaugh, he came on 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, where I was at. First hour was great. Second and third hours were more or less a repetition of the first hour with a little bit of extra thrown on top, right? And I really liked that he called it. He called it how he saw it, right? And he could be wrong. He could be wrong, and he would admit, "Hey, I was wrong about this." But often he wasn't wrong, and he would just say it is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it means to be this. This is what it means to be that. This is what, when we talk about this is why we talk about it in this way. Didn't debate people, didn't have guests on, just sit there and talk for 3 hours a day. And, I worked every day in a shop. And so my routine was I would listen to the morning shows like Bob and Tom, or, just more radio morning shows on the FM station until noon. At noon, Rush Limbaugh came on in my market. Noon to 3, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh. 3 o'clock, I knew, you know what? It's time to start putting tools away. Time to start cleaning up. Because, got an hour to work, and then it's going to be 4 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock leads to 5 o'clock, and then I'm out of here. And it's one of those things where over the years I saw the changes happen to me. I saw the changes happen to Rush Limbaugh on his show. I saw all of the things go on. But the show never really stopped being the show. Do you understand what I mean? Like change is a constant. It's a part of life. Change is what's going to happen regardless, whether you want it to or not. But you can have change and at the same time stay consistent. Just like I did with Rush Limbaugh. Every single day I will listen to Rush Limbaugh. And I really miss that in my life. I actually miss not turning on the radio at noon and listening for 3 hours and just kind of just letting the world go by. And that show carried me through so much change, right? That show carried me through changes from coast to coast. I was in North Carolina, then I was in California, and then I was back. And still there was Rush Limbaugh on the radio every day. Same music, same sound effects. Yeah, I can hear his music in my head too, Steven. Thank you. And as the election, the election's happening right now, and I'm thinking, like, man, this has been a rough. This has been a rough one, guys. This really this has been tough. It's been a tough election. And the thing that was consistent for so many years is not there, right? And I'm picking on the Rush Limbaugh show because I think it's familiar to many of you as my listeners. But on the other hand, I bet a lot of the younger people in this audience, they've never really listened to him. Maybe they've heard him a few times, but they've never really listened to the show. I urge you to go back and listen to some of the commentary from Limbaugh's shows. It's really, really special and magical in so many ways. It's a all of our change, we're always changing. Every day. Tomorrow will be different than today. The day after that will be different than that. You got to find those things in life that are consistent that helps you get, that maybe it doesn't help you get by, right? But it's just something consistent in your life that doesn't change, right? And I don't know, guys. I was thinking about it earlier today, like all of my life. I mean, I've moved across country several times. I've left jobs and just walked out the door. We've all done that, right? I mean, most of us, right? We've all had a situation where basically, you change your entire life over the space of a few weeks. I remember I was in North Carolina. I was working for a race shop, and they were really good people, and I really enjoyed working there. But I needed to change, and I knew I needed to make a change. And there were growing pains, and we weren't we weren't meshing like we should have been. And I remember walking in one day, and to me, it was just like it was the end of I just hit that wall, I just hit that wall, and I said, I don't want to be here anymore. So I need to make a change. And I did. I literally loaded up my toolbox. I had a trailer at the time. I loaded everything up into this trailer. I pulled a car in behind it, strapped everything down. And then moved from North Carolina back to Nashville. Didn't have a house, nowhere to stay, nothing. Didn't call anybody, didn't tell anybody, didn't do anything. Just, I'm done. Today, I'm done. Load up my shit, and I moved. Rush Limbaugh was there Monday morning. ZD Den sends in $5 American. I love American money. My early conservative years, my indoctrinated feminism felt Rush was too conservative. I realized later I was not conservative enough. I missed out. Based. It's very based. That's good stuff right there. I like it. So, and I really enjoyed Rush Limbaugh's stories about how he himself had adversity in life, and he had to change jobs before, and had to he'd gotten fired before and had to change his whole life. He had gotten divorced and had to change his whole life, and knowing that such a great man who obviously did exactly what he loved doing every day of his adult life, knowing that gave me hope, right? And I'm kind of prattling on here because nobody's had the balls to come up and chat with me tonight. That's okay. Kind of prattling. It's okay. It's fine. A little prattle. Change is consistent, but you also need a rock to be consistent. And it can be anything. For me, it was a radio show. For me, it was a radio show that I could listen to coast, that came on the same time every day, that I knew was going to happen. And that's what it was. It was great for me. So at the end of the day, I think that I think we all need that, right? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, what do you think? I just was thinking about it earlier today that I was out working on the cars, right? And um, it was like I was back in the old shop. It was like I was, to me, it could have been 20 years ago. I'm working on the car. I've got, I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm really not doing anything else. I wasn't, you guys may not have noticed I wasn't online. I wasn't on panels. I wasn't anywhere to be found because I was out in my shop. And I was working. It was just like I was I was back 20 years ago listening to Rush Limbaugh. It was great. It was a good time. I listened to Rob Noor. I listened to Rob Noor today talk about the debate that he had, which I did watch last night, and another debate from that been he kind of critiqued the debate that Ben Shapiro had with this idiot IRI. I guess, yeah, whatever his name was. I think it's IRI, and then such a loser of a debate guy IRI was, but um, I yeah, I spent the whole day today doing it, and just change keeps going, man. Just keeps going. What do we got here? There's been a lot of talk lately. Do you think Democrats will push Article 14, Section 3 if Trump wins, certify Kamala votes, and say too bad? I mean, that's basically what they accuse Trump of doing. I don't think they can do it. It would be very interesting if they could make that happen. I don't think they can make that happen. Yeah, I don't think he can make that happen. At this point, I don't. I think they're losing hope. We could talk about that really quick, but Balls is in the house. What's up, Mikey Balls? How
What's
are
up, kind sir? How you doing?
you? I'm good, man. I'm good. Very thoughtful tonight. How about you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been an eventful evening. A lot of shit going on in the world, the sphere, right?
Yeah, somebody actually just brought up Tim Pool and Timcast IRL and all of that. What do you think about the absurd amount of extra drama, pardon me, that's been surrounding Tim Pool lately? What do you think?
You
about
mean as in what he was allegedly, found with his co-conspirator, what's her name, Lauren Chen?
Yeah, Lauren Chen
And Tenet Media and all of that.
Yeah, Tenet Media. I think all that's going to go away because there's nothing.
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
that's dissipated.
Yeah, I mean they haven't. There's not been a single word about it, right? Since they had the, which what all they did was they had a crap. Now I can't think of what it's called. They had an indictment. They didn't have anything else. They didn't have like charges filed or anything like that.
Yep.
So, so that's all going to go away. Tim Pool obviously got his PP slapped by YouTube and had to go to YouTube re-education camp.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that. How do I say this in my most generous? I think Tim Pool has been really broken for a long time. I think he's a big conspiracy guy. I think he's gone too far with it. He's gone too far down the well.
So too radical.
I wouldn't say radical. I think that he believes that I think he's smoking his own stuff.
Okay. I can dig.
I think when he's talking about all of this stuff that might be, he believes that it is.
Sure.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair.
He's high on his own supply. Right.
It's kind of like an Alex Jones character, He's kind of high on his own supply too.
No, that's a really good analogy. Because I think that the problem with Tim Pool right now is twofold, really. So the first is I think he had his PP slapped really hard by YouTube, and he's been in the game so long he doesn't want to think about having to do anything else.
Sure.
And he's I didn't watch it all, so I don't know if he actually said that he's quitting or getting rid of Timcast IRL and only keeping the what's the other one? The other channel he's got, Timcast.
Yeah, I forget what his other main whatever is.
Yeah, it's I think it's just called Timcast.
Timcast, right? That's what I thought.
But Timcast. Yeah, so a lot. All right, so I gotta react to the chat here for a second.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I apologize. John Deadman, yes, a lot of conspiracies have been proven right. However, Tim Pool is, even if he is right, he's just gone down. Like
when you're looked at as a conspiracy theorist too hard,
yeah,
they kind of disavow. Like even when you're right, they're just like so. Like you're
yeah, but it's beyond that. It's just he literally is his own echo chamber. Like if you told him he was right, he would think that was part of the conspiracy.
Yeah, there's no doubt that there was that. Now, Grid, let me ask you an honest question.
Yeah.
A little bit of pushback. So if you were to have 1.5 million subscribers, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you did well for yourself, this was your business,
yeah, he makes a ton of money doing
Totally. Let's assume that you were in the same position. Would you give up YouTube at that point? Or because I don't think I could. I would deviate, and I know that I have enough influence at that point that I could start up another channel, right? Oh wow, Glenn Lawrence, how you doing, kind sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, just hanging out with the devil and, the angel of
Yeah.
death.
Does he look like me? I've heard that he
He
favors
looks
me
it,
heavily.
it looks like me actually.
Oh wow, staring
I
you in the
thought
face.
we were twins.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that I've heard that he chooses to show up as a version of me. So I thought that was weird.
No, the devil looks a little bit more handsome than that.
More handsome than
Um,
me?
Yeah, I know it's hard to say.
It's very hard to say.
Hold on one second.
Yes, sir. You all right? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm chatting with tech support at the same time.
Hmm.
Okay.
Have you been listening, Glenn, or are you just now popping in?
I'm now popping in. I had you know, I had a bunch of calls I had to make.
I bet.
Of course.
Telling people no, you can't have the rights to my, movies yet. I'm not dead, you still got to pay me.
Yeah, you still owe me, fuckers. Yeah.
I'm still alive and kicking. I'm not
They were
signing
just
anything
getting ready
over.
to sue your estate. That's all.
Shit.
She.
Good luck. I'm having issues with my camera right now, which is fucking retarded. I don't know why my camera's not coming on,
There's no pressure.
but yeah. What have you guys been talking about?
So we were talking about Tim Pool and how I think he's a little too high on his own supply. He sees conspiracies everywhere. And he, I don't know if you saw this the other night, but he went on Timcast IRL. I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but the part I watched was he was seriously talking about ending Timcast IRL, like just stopping, shutting it down, closing the doors. And when the part that I watched, he was talking about, well, we could sell it, but then, how do we control the quality, and what do we do this and what do we do that? And then he had like five other things that he kind of rambled on about.
He ain't selling nothing. He's making way too much money off of that.
Well, I think he has he actually shut down Mikey? Mikey, do you know if he's actually shut down Timcast?
No, not that I know of.
He just said that he was, but he hasn't. Yeah.
Sure.
That makes way more sense.
Totally. When you're feeling it in the moment, sometimes we say some shit like, hey, man, I'm discouraged or whatever, and say some shit. But realistically, are you going to do it? Nah.
Yeah, I think
he spent way too much time in investing and building that out.
Yeah.
That's his baby. That's what he's created, and that's what he lives for. Like it'd be like Trump giving up Trump.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, that was the weird thing about it, right? Like I was like, what else would he do at this point?
Right.
Like he is so.
He could skateboard his life into the sunset, like
he could be a pipe fitter, Sure, fitting.
like he could, he could do whatever he wants. He's made enough money to where he could live off of and live comfortably.
Now that part I think is true. But he seems like he's a high energy guy. I don't think.
But you got to ask, what's the question is why?
Yeah.
And
always a question.
It's always why, right? Like, why do you do? Like, why does anybody do what we do? Why do podcasting? Why speak about the things that we speak about? Why there really isn't that great of a return on investment.
You're right about that.
Why do we do what we do? And once you understand the why for the individual, and it could be as insignificant to you as you may think it is, but it might mean the world to them. And that why is important.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for me, like, you know, having, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I just kind of had a near-death experience.
No
Why?
kidding.
Why, Glenn? Why do you care? Why do you fight? Why do you? What keeps you driving forward? And that's what I guess I've been pondering on a lot on that lately, the past couple of days, is the why.
Well,
'Cause I
the
don't
bear,
want it to be insignificant. I don't want it to be for any external validation, but you still got to figure out what that why is for you. Each individual has a why.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I understand that.
I think when he made that stream, I agree with everyone else that he was mostly angry with his staff. He's been pissed off a lot about the tenant media deal. That paycheck is gone for the time being. And add in that, he got the pee slap from YouTube and had to go to YouTube compliance school, or they were going to dump his channel. I think when you add it all up, it was a sense of frustration. It's like, and he has, I think, I don't know how many actual streams he has. If he stopped doing Timcast IRL, it wouldn't be like that big a deal, right? Like, it would still be.
Well, it would still be a big deal, but I mean, that's a big revenue stream, right? But at the same time, yeah, I see what you mean, because he still automatically on his main channel still does decent numbers right there. You know, you can, if you can't survive off that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point, but
if I were to tell you to take, you start taking less money, that's hard to do, right?
let's be real here. It's not about surviving, it's about thriving. For Tim Cat, for me, for for Glenn Lawrence, it's the money. We need the money, obviously, because we have bills to pay. But
there's that next level.
Yeah, there's excellence is something that you want to have, right? Like, you really want to have.
You strive for that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You really want to have
it's the quality. It's your namesake, right?
Yeah. I actually agree with Tim Cat. I agree with Tim Pool that the PP slap by YouTube for something he never did was, that was literally like a kick in the ass.
Well, how much did he know about it is the question. And
well, it doesn't matter. He never, it doesn't. Well, first of all, there's nothing to know. There was no Russian anything.
I know. I agree with that.
That's the thing, is like, what could he have known? I mean, he never said anything on camera at all. Now, he did say anti-Ukrainian things like I do. I say way worse than he does. I'm like,
oh, I agree. I say way worse.
I have been guilty of saying plenty on that.
And so I think that, and again, look at what happened there. So they didn't even ask Lauren Chin to go to re-education camp like they did Tim Pool.
Yeah.
They just deleted all her shit.
Yeah.
Tim Pool, who really, look, as we like to think of Tim Pool as political, he's not that political. He's a conspiracy theory kind of guy that says some cool shit once in a while, and he's entertaining to watch. Lauren Chin was straight up political.
That's true.
Right?
True.
They
nonstop.
deleted the political person's channels, all four of them. But Tim didn't come out unscathed. Tim had to literally go to re-education camp. Arthur Dye, he's not, I mean, he's 100% political, but he's like milquetoast political. He's not Lauren Chin out
He
there.
doesn't get in
saying-
the weeds.
Yeah, he doesn't get in the weeds. He's not Lauren Chin out there calling people out on shit and all of that. So, yeah, Tim Pool, conspiracy theory, a lot of stuff that didn't really mean anything. So
I've always put Tim Pool in the same category as Nick Fuentes and Alex
that's
Jones.
interesting.
I've always just done that from day one.
I always look
I
at
mean,
him as a political opinion commenter. Like
sure.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that.
like he was he commented on politics and gave his opinion on policy and stuff, and like he just like anybody else.
Yeah. So, do you think that what makes more sense? Nuking Lauren Chin's channel, who never really said anything but political stuff. Now, obviously, she was super political, right? Like, she obviously was like crazy political.
Oh, I mean,
she was very, very political. She
yeah,
interviewed political people. She did all
Every day.
every day. And but she was pretty mainstream about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tim Pool is a conspiracy theorist guy who literally has been talking about Civil War. Why wasn't his channel nuked? Because he sounds so crazy, do you think? Maybe?
it could be that he's actually more insulated, and because you got to remember, Tim wasn't like, he hasn't been super, he was kind of a little bit liberal leaning for a while. It really wasn't until
Well, he was moderate. I wouldn't go liberal. I mean, I could see where
whatever.
Moderate.
Like, it wasn't
I could
until he started
see-
leaning more towards like to the women's rights and men's rights, and that's when he started getting eyes drawn on him.
Arthur Dye has been drinking the Kool-Aid, guys.
When Tim started, like when Tim brought on Fresh and Fit, when Tim brought on that, like that's when people started really worried about what Tim was doing,
I think so.
And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just how I look at it. He didn't become a concern or a threat until he started speaking up on those matters.
Yeah, but I don't know how. I just don't see why he's like Joe Rogan light, right? Like it's kind of the same thing. Anyway, Arthur Dye says the money chain was Russians, Lauren Chin and Co. Other podcasting. Okay, so let's break this down. There's been no proof at all that the money came from Russia at all. None of it. Zero. Now
They can't prove that. I mean,
the two people that were involved did have a legitimate media company, and they were Russian. And I think formerly they had been, like everybody, in the Russian military. I guess that's just kind of like China. Everybody's been in the military. You don't really have much of a choice. But that was it. That's the only, and it's the thinnest of connections. It's this thin. But I do think that they were, I do think these sums of money were very odd. And the fact that they haven't really released the money tells me that there's something they don't want us to know. If it went to a conservative group, we would know by now. If it went to Russians, we would know by now. Why?
oh yeah, I think they would have cracked.
Yeah.
They would have cracked this a long time ago.
Yeah. How is it that we haven't heard anything else about it?
Because it's either a nothing burger or somehow it's connected to someone they don't want to get in trouble. If they
Arthur Dye,
expose,
they failed to register, but there's no proof that they needed to register because they didn't actually request any propaganda. See, that's the rub. That's why this is such a nothing burger. If I were, I'm not, but if I were a foreign agent, if I was from Finland and I came over here and I wanted Glenn Lawrence to say things about allowing us to hunt whales again,
shit, just here's my Cash App. Send me the money.
If that was the reality of it, if I said, hey, I want to pay you $1 million I'm going to give you a slush fund of $1 million. I want you to go around and get people to talk about us hunting whales again. Then I would have to register as a foreign agent because I am acting on part. And Glenn actually said that about, if he went around saying, hey, get too many fucking whales out there, we got to kill them bitches. I'm going to turn them into whale.
I'll be like,
you got to turn them into whale oil, baby. And
we need that oil, right? We need that oil. So shit.
If we actually did that, that would be that I would have to register as a foreign agent from Finland for the subject of propaganda.
Or I could have just I could have went on a whale. I could have went on a trip to Finland and seen like all these damn whales out here, man. Finland needs to start hunting these motherfuckers, and I could have came up with it on my own.
But the thing is that they've gone through literally all of the footage, and they don't have anything where any of them said anything pro-Russian. The only thing they found was, I think Tim Pool has said some pro or anti-Ukrainian things.
Yeah, I saw them. Those
I think
clips.
a lot of people have said that.
Yeah, and that's
I have said that on my platform.
Everybody's clinging to that. Like, so basically now anybody that says anything anti-Ukrainian must be pro-Russian. I could say anti-Ukrainian.
It's unbelievable.
I could say anti-Ukrainian and anti-Russian.
Right? Yeah.
That's exactly the motto right there.
Fuckers.
It's America first, man.
Yeah.
Like fuck everyone else. Sorry about it. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah. I got, dude, the chat's going crazy. You got to see, this is why you guys got to do that super chat thing. So I don't
we can decipher.
Let's see. Hang on, I got to read this for a minute.
There's a lot.
Let's see. Yeah, and I'm not talking about Tim Pool's. I mean, I didn't intend. I just was kind of curious what the idea was. Angel Berber, Arthur Dye, I agree. He is not a conspiracy channel. He is a fence sitter. Admits as much. That's true. I can go with that. He has done the Civil War thing for years now, but now that
I think Tim is like hell bent on Civil War, and I think that's a bad look for him.
Well, he argued with Andrew about it like hardcore.
Yeah, and Andrew called him out like, dude, you've been saying it for 10 years.
Yeah. Why don't we have Hunter? Yeah, we don't have Hunter in a cell. That's true. We should.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Wow, holy crap! The chat is crazy. $4.99 from Mikey Balls right there beside me. More American. That's right.
More American money right there. Not some Canadian. Not Well,
anyway. Let's see. So I think that's what Crow Nick says. Crap, I got to go all the way back up to the top. Crow Nick, I'm going to just read this instead of showing. True, that's what I'm thinking, Glenn. It's connected to a person they don't want to show, talking about why don't we know where the money came from yet? I mean, this is weird. It is weird. Can we agree?
Trust me, like if the government wants to find out where the money came from, they know exactly where the money came from. And the thing is the reason why they haven't released where the money came from is because they don't want someone that they don't want to make someone look bad.
Absolutely. That's the thing, man, is that you can't, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like there's I got more super chats here. Gotta go. Mikey Balls. Okay, we got John. Hold on. $5 from Kronos. Grid, you're giving out the secrets to my pro class alpha status with hunting for orca. Sorry, man. I mean,
Like we freed Willie. Okay, time for Willie to pay up.
That's right. That's right. No one does this shit for free.
That's right. Yeah, he was a kept man, and now he's got to go earn his keep.
That's right.
$5. Ghost 1978, America First. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I don't. So Grid is against Elon. Yeah, why? I'm not against Elon. I just don't.
What do you think about his $1 million a day thing going on?
That's fucking brilliant.
Well, until
it is brilliant. I'm not gonna lie.
Till Elon starts paying my bills, I don't really give a fuck about what Elon says.
I get it, but $1 million is given, which I've already seen checks of people where they're showing up at their houses and shit.
Well, when I get a check from Elon,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Of course, keep it realistic.
Be honest, and then I'll say something.
So once you win $1 million, then you're a big Elon fan, right?
No, then I would just be like,
supposedly the DOJ told him he can't do it. And
yes, the federal government said that, hey, this may be illegal right here.
How's it illegal?
That's just something that the feds are putting on them. I don't know exactly how, but that's what their claim is.
Of course, they're going to claim it's something illegal now.
Of course.
All right, so would we then say that, and look, I'm not trying to pick on Tim Pool here tonight. I forgot how I even brought him up, but I'll go back and check the tape. But I would say that anybody in his position would be, and Angel Berber has brought this up, anybody in his position would be feeling the weight of his family right now. Right. Like, and now, so, saying conspiratorial shit on the internet is cool when you're single, no kids,
Damn, you're right. Because you're going to attract kind of crazy mentalities.
Yeah. And
good point.
And I think his staffing has changed too. I think that the white-haired Mary girl, I haven't seen her on Tim Pool in a while. I don't watch Tim Pool that much, so maybe she's been on. I just haven't caught her on. I don't know.
I don't watch a lot of it either. I'm going to be honest.
There were some other people I think that have moved on, and maybe it's just not as much fun for him, but he's got to do it. So Hannah is gone. Yeah, that was that her name? I guess that was her name. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Maybe he lost the passion.
Mars. All right, what do we think about cities on Mars? By the way, somebody asked me if it was an open panel, and then they never responded when I asked them what they wanted to talk about.
Maybe like he lost the passion.
You gotta have a point.
Like,
yeah.
Like here's the thing. Like once I saw how movies were made, I stopped watching movies.
Ooh. That's interesting.
So like because you lose the magic, you lose the.
Yep. Once you're behind the scenes and you understand how it looks, and you're like, man, this is some goofy shit to make it work.
Maybe he saw how the countries actually ran in the government, and he's just like, man, I lost the magic and lost the luster. I lost
Yeah. I mean, it might have just been as simple as, he got his pee-pee slapped, and nobody likes getting their pee-pee slapped. I'm just telling you.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun.
So, if you
normally my pee-pee does the slapping, but
damn, all right, Glenn.
That's
the
point, right? That's the point. Normally
that's what you're supposed to do.
It's called dick slap, not slap dick.
Yeah, so if you're the one, Glenn, if you wake up in the morning and yesterday everything was cool, and today you're facing an indictment for conspiracy or something, and then you get a nice email from YouTube saying that you're going to go to
our submissive camp,
whatever fucking training.
Yeah.
you got an appointment with HR.
You got to go to bitch camp.
You got to go to bitch camp. He I actually saw that he live streamed that. I saw like 5 minutes of it or 10 minutes of it or something.
Live streamed it?
It was pretty gay. Well, when he wasn't actually in it, it was like he was outside.
I'm just saying, like it's.
And he's looking at having all of and he just watched Lauren Chen get all 4 of her channels nuked.
Totally.
I don't like first of all, I do not like my PP slapped, period. All right.
Well,
but not 4 times over.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't know why Tim Pool doesn't have his own fucking channel, like his own website with his own channel where he's live streaming where all of his content is. Not here on YouTube. Why does he use YouTube? You made enough money. You could risk starting from ground zero.
Does he stream to Rumble at the same time?
What's the point of using any of these platforms unless you own them?
I guess that's true.
Why don't you own the platform, and then that way you fucking write.
You can never lose it. Yeah,
exactly.
You can never lose it. I mean, I have my own website too, and I know you do too, Glenn. But that's something that I used to do. I used to upload my stuff there.
I think Andrew
I was in the position. Let's see what Andrew does. Well, Andrew still, I think he still uses one of them for like a hosting server.
Yeah, he uses YouTube.
Yeah.
For his live, because you can do pretty much anything live.
Yeah,
and then
just take it down and then
delete it.
Takes it down and puts it behind a paywall on his own website, which
you're still
Rumble
using
allows him to do
because it records it.
Rumble, yeah.
But my thing is why don't we just create our own hosting server? Right?
Because everybody that's tried to do that has.
We just don't have the traction.
No, everybody that's tried to do it has done it. Try to do it independently and not as a collective, right? So let's just say you got like Andrew, Pearl, let's say a couple of these bigger content creators, right? Come together.
You would have to do that,
and then they got you got 5 or 6 of these big content creators together and go, you know what? We are going to make our own server
hosting
for us, by us, and that way we write our own ticket and. We'll throw our clips on YouTube. We'll throw our, lives on there to gain traction, but then send them all over here for, unadulterated, real version.
No,
you're exactly right. It would have to be that.
Yeah, but I mean,
because
you look at Daily Wire, right? I'm sorry, man. You look at Daily Wire. Daily Wire did exactly what you're talking about, except it didn't really do what they wanted it to do, so they ended up going right back to YouTube
because they all they had was their personalities was literally the same. If you watch one Daily Wire person, you've watched them all. They don't have a diverse mix of people.
But I mean, you could say that about even us, right? I mean, but
like, even like. So let's say it was Daily Wire, right? And let's say Daily Wire got a hold of Glenn.
I don't think you have a leg to stand on in that.
Glenn and Lawrence and Daily Wire are really fucking different folk. Glenn Lawrence and Daily Wire are completely different, right? Are way different. I disagree with a lot of the guys on Daily Wire, but you know what? We could agree on some basic core principles, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like if you got different people that agree on your foundational core principles, but maybe you disagree on other things, collaborate with them. Then that means you have a bunch of people that have different views, but your still core values are the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it just.
I mean, I just don't see how it's any different than Daily Wire is. It's relatively diverse. You have different types of people. They stream back to YouTube because when they were trying to do it on their own, it just didn't.
You don't get the reach. That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah, you just don't get it.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you don't use
so much money.
I'm saying like you don't. You think I'm saying like not you YouTube? No, you still do what you do with YouTube.
And those guys don't want to give up AdSense either. You know what I mean? They make a decent amount of money off of AdSense.
Then you could use them for your clips. You use YouTube for your clips.
But clips don't make money like that. Like that.
You got people on here that have clips channels of other people's shows that are making a good living off of it.
Well,
and
yeah,
not even their
collective.
right? It's not even their own clip.
You're
So,
right. You're right about that. I mean,
Well,
I get that point.
I think that I mean, and not that I really want to go down this road, because I will personally not do it. I mean, YouTube has a massive amount invested in being able to drive traffic,
yeah.
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's the advantage that that everybody wants, right? Like
Yes.
you basically have to have it. That's why Rumble sucks goat nuts.
Absolutely.
You know, Rumble. I can literally search your channel on Rumble and never fucking
Find it. Yep.
Um,
Damn straight.
YouTube, I can spell your name wrong.
It'll
and
pop up
it
still.
will find it. Yeah.
Yep.
And so while I agree, I think that's what Daily Wire realized when so I think the reason Daily Wire really never went hardcore into doing their own thing right out of the gate is that's what happened to Shapiro over at Breitbart, right? Breitbart did everything in-house because they have very, very divisive content. And they released very few things to YouTube. Most of it was you had to go to Breitbart to watch it. And
Like Andrew?
Yeah, well,
similar,
different. But Breitbart,
Mike, we can't be saying Andrew's name one too many times because people in the chat
then we might trigger
people.
Yeah, he has the link. I'm just telling you right now.
No, he's got the link. I automatically.
Well,
listen,
it's
okay.
The chat will start thinking you're dick riding them, and you don't want
Oh,
to give the wrong
damn!
impression now,
don't want that.
Yeah,
you guys are too experienced.
Regardless of how many years you guys have been friends, it just automatically means you're dick riding them.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but I think that the only way to compete with like monopolies, like like with Google or YouTube or Rumble, is that you have to build it for us, by us. It has to be by your people, for your people, and that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Any other way than that, then you're going to constantly play by someone else's rules. Let's get into it.
I guess there's
we can get into it if you want, but hold on, get into it. You want? I use him as an example. He says controversial things. I say a name that somebody knows. That's not dick riding anybody, but if that's what you call dick riding, that's your prerogative, bro.
Who are you? Did I miss
Deadman, John Deadman.
Oh,
but
yeah. $10 comes in from K2. Keep on trucking. Love my country, not my government. Not a fan of the government. The elites in government. Technically, the elites are not in government. Trying to separate themselves from people. After I clock out, I will be on vacation. Good. Hey, man, have a great vacation. It's always glad to have you on the stream. Hopefully, you can while you're on vacation, you check us out.
That's right.
That actually brings me to the other portion of my topic selection for tonight. So I was watching Rob Noor debate a complete fucking moron last night, called First something, whatever. And one of the interesting things that he just kept saying was that he's not anti-Israel, he's anti-Netanyahu. The problem is that the Israelis keep electing Netanyahu. So,
in turn, is against Israel.
Wouldn't that make you against Israel? Like, what isn't that kind of like
it's a direct? Yeah.
Isn't that like I don't respect their choice in leadership but I respect the people and the I hate the leader because he is doing what the people obviously want him to do because they keep electing him. How does this logic work? $4.99 from the Smoking Patriot. Love seeing here, brother. Welcome back, brother Glenn. Glad you are on the mend. The Moist Mafia salutes you.
Dope.
That was dope.
Oh, thank you, Patriot.
Ardaya Netanyahu is. By the way, I love that name, Net and Yahoo.
Yeah, it is a funny name to say.
Baller name. I mean, you just got to give it up for Netanyahu.
Right, right.
I mean, like,
Go ahead.
look, you don't have to like Netanyahu, but to say that you don't like you like Israel, but you don't like who Israel picks as a leader, then aren't you just saying you don't like Israel?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the logic train has to follow.
It has to follow the logic train.
Yeah,
You're right.
because he's been and they obviously love the guy. He keeps getting elected.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of silly. That's
silly. It is. It's exactly silly.
It's like I don't like Grid 1, but I like Grid. Just not
stupid.
I love it.
Yeah, I like Grid. I just don't like the people.
I just don't like Grid.
So anyway, so I think that it's I think it's really interesting, right? Like
it is.
I'm trying to I just don't understand what the I'm trying to understand what this guy's position was. It just took me a while, right? It took me a while. I still don't really understand it.
Someone in the chat?
No. It was this guy first amender first amendment.
Oh, on Rob Noor's debate.
Rob Noor's thing.
Pack of beers because it's chunky boys season with winter coming.
Glenn's mic is picking up everything.
Hotkey.
Oh, my bad.
That's all right. Yeah, it's like Anson Knowles says, it's like saying I like Grid's chat, I just don't like his face.
Yeah.
Which is okay. You don't have to like my face. I'm glad you can be honest, buddy. $5 comes in from the Raging Patriot, 1776. Explain Pepperbox server, gun tubers, military, first responders, and anything to do with 2A and more.
Trying to understand the question.
I love gun tubers.
Yeah, me too.
Overtack's one of them. He's legit.
I watch his stuff too. Ever since we've been on panels.
Throwing out the big super chat. TTS.
Ooh.
KR0N05420 donated $20. Super chat. Glenn. You need to enjoy Chonky season with winter coming lol, get a steak and beer with the boys.
Did you hear that, Glenn?
No.
Negative, sir.
$20 from Kronos 420. Glenn, you need to enjoy Chonky season with Chonky? Okay. With winter
He's talking about Chunky.
Yeah. LOL. Get a steak and a beer with the boys. He said to check your super chats or something. Don't know.
I will check them out. But unfortunately, like I have a lot of changes I gotta be making here in the near future, for health reasons. Because this pulmonary embolism, they're a killer. Not a lot of people make it through them, so you know, they definitely are life changing,
Brutal.
and makes you have to reevaluate things. Right now I'm kind of like the boy in the bubble. The blood thinners that I'm on, I can't even I gotta be careful not even bump my head, because bumping my head can cause internal bleeding type of thing. So Orthodia says, did they not offer you a filter? No, they got me on some very, very, very strong blood thinners. I'm on blood thinners for the rest of my life. So I have to be on blood thinners for forever, just because where they for having an embolism in your lung, my lungs were full of a bunch of blood clots. So having the blood thinners, clear them all out. But there's just diet, everything changes. Way I work out, it's gonna change. Just there's a lot of changes all at once. Yeah, I'm on warfarin now. I have to take. Well, this week, for the next week, I have to take 4 a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. And then starting next week, I could start taking 1 in the morning, 1 at night. But yeah, they got me on some pain stuff. Because even breathing hurts.
Damn.
So
guys, the TTS has been lowered to $10.
Nice.
Theraging Patriot,
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'll be fine.
1,776 donated $10.
If this one didn't stop me, they were surprised.
Pepperbox is a paywall
when they
server
actually
site, and they're doing great. They stuck with IT and made it happen when everyone said they'd fail. They have their very own server. They all.
Hold on, Glenn.
Oh, my bad.
It's all right. You guys can't hear it because you're in the
No,
stream.
we can't.
Yeah, you guys are in the stream, so you can't hear it. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. It's your show, man.
Yeah, that was that one reacted really fast too. I'm gonna re-trigger it.
Yeah.
I think let me do that. So I think I am anyway. I say I am. Maybe I'm not. There we go.
Theraging Patriot 1,776 donated $10, super chat. Pepperbox is a paywall server site, and they're doing great. They stuck with IT and made it happen when everyone said they'd fail. They have their very own server. They all
invested into it. Yeah, so I'm going to show you this so you can see that. So the Raging Patriot, Pepperbox is a paywall server site, and they're doing great. They stuck with it and made it happen when everyone said they'd fail. They have their very own server. They all invested into it. So I think the interesting point about this is that what Glenn was talking about earlier with the various servers, it sounds like Pepperbox was a.
There are a few other ones other than Pepperbox, but yeah, I'm aware of Pepperbox. What's his name? He's an actor. Cuba Gooding Jr. was behind a platform that was launching, basically kind of doing the same thing, but with the whole Diddy scandal, and since his name is brought up from that, they actually removed him. He's no longer a part of it, and I think they're at a stalemate. So I don't know where they're going to go from there, but they were doing really good. They were going to be able to, you would be able to do your podcast with them, and you basically paying for your own server through them, and so that nobody could touch your server. The problem with that company is that like there was no governing anything. Like you could get like some really bad stuff on there, and nobody would end up taking it down. There was nobody to complain to because you would be your own server, so you could have some really vile stuff on there that wouldn't be good to see.
Glenn Angel Berber says, my mother and father are on Eliquis. You will have major changes for the rest of your life. Constant stroke and heart attack watch from now on. A harsh reality, but you will have to endure, Glenn.
Yeah, no, there's like I said, there's a whole lot of changes that I gotta do, and it's gonna be a new road, you know, it's gonna be different. And you know, nobody looks forward to it. No one looks forward to the changes, but you got to embrace them as they come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true. Arthur Dias says it's the post-palm embolism syndrome that will have the most effect on exercise tolerance, etc. The clots themselves will dissolve in about 6 weeks.
Yeah, they told me I got to they want me to be walking more, no working out, no late weightlifting for about a couple months, and then even when I do get back into weightlifting, it's going to be has to be monitored. It has to be supervised and all that stuff. It just can't be. I just can't do the same old stuff that I used to do. Everything's gonna have to change, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yep, that's interesting. Is I mean, that's a very calm way of putting it.
Hold on, I'll be right back, you guys.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Guys, just to remind you guys that the TTS is now $10 for both Super Chats and Streamlabs. So feel free to send those in if you want to interact almost instantaneously with us here. We're not really live. We're kind of live.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're not really sure about Mikey Balls. Mikey Balls is halfway live. He looks asleep.
Halfway.
You look like it's past your bedtime, isn't it?
It is. I've done 4 shows today.
You done 4 shows? Wow.
Yesterday I did 5. Yep.
Okay. Welcome, Rich, to Demolished Doctrine. How are you today, sir? This evening, I should say. So, Grid, Grid. John Deadman, Grid one. I'm just asking questions, no ill intent, just asking for myself. Hey, nobody's mad, man. We're all good. Nobody's angry.
Hello, guys, by the way.
What's up, Jess?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Asleep, Jess?
I was sleeping.
Oh, damn. Sorry to disturb.
No, I was sleeping like ages ago, and then I got up and I was being a mum. And I saw you guys were live, so I thought I'd join.
What time is it for you right now?
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Like 20 to 2 o'clock. So it's
2 o'clock. Yeah, it's 9:41 here. 9:41 p.m. the previous day for us.
Yeah, it's Sunday afternoon here.
Yeah, weird.
So I actually got sent this during Discord. I'm not going to tell you who sent it, but and if they wish to repeat the message in the chat, that's fine. But basically, it says if Glenn could get to Nashville, he could not get better treatment or aid. There are so many people, churches, and nonprofits I'm assuming they mean in that area, he could get way better health care than California and probably paid for than Nashville. Possibly. I mean, I definitely Vanderbilt does a lot of work with people in need. So I know it wasn't you, Jack. I know. I mean, I know exactly who it is because their name popped up, but they can remain anonymous if they'd like. That's totally fine.
I like that comment. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know exactly who sent the comment, and if they choose to, they would. Yeah, Duke is good too, and North Carolina's are actually, the parts aren't destroyed. North Carolina is really a good place to live. I lived there for a while. Really cheap to live there. I liked it. California has a kick-ass healthcare system.
I would not really say that.
I mean,
I lived there for 29 years of my life.
In the system, in terms of just doing a good job, not saying price. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're looking for cosmetic surgery, yeah, you're right, 100%. Richard Demolished Doctrine, I'm glad to see you out there in the chat. It's been a while since we've seen you on. I assume that you were less than enthusiastic about joining our show, but glad to see you in the chat tonight. Ghost 1978 only for illegal immigrants. Yes, we understand that jab there. That's a little jab. If you didn't recognize that, that was a jab. So trying to poke your eye out. Michigan Christian is in the house again. That is twice this week he's been on out in the show. I thought maybe he was working too hard. Grungehead is going hard tonight. Callie has a great reassignment program. That is funny.
Brutal.
It is brutal. Oh, I forgot the Joe Rogan interview is tonight. I'm gonna have to watch
tonight.
It.
Yeah, I think they filmed it tonight.
Oh,
I don't know if it came out tonight.
I thought it was live though.
I don't know if it's live. I think it's actually recorded because it goes to Spotify first. That's the contract that he has, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's out right now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it. Yep.
It's past your bedtime, Mikey.
It is. I'm about to eat dinner and go to bed.
Eat dinner?
Mm-hmm. Way late. I know. I'm way late. I've been running shows all night.
Okay. What have you been doing? What kind of stuff you been doing?
Just political discussions, whether it be Israel or what's going on in the election right now.
Oh, I got a good person that's willing to come on for an Israeli conversation.
Sure.
She's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I met her at one of the Jubilee things.
Okay.
And she's from Israel.
Is she ready to come on now?
Oh no.
I was gonna say, Jess, I gotta
schedule her in advance. I'd have to schedule her in advance.
I'm so cold.
After because I've always been not my war, not my problem kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she pointed out, she's like, you do know, with the treaty or whatever we have with Israel, it may not be our war, but if Israel goes, we don't have the reach that we would have in that region.
Correct.
And we wouldn't have the intel
I'm sorry, Glenn. No. Richard, if you would like to come onto the panel, just reach out to one of the moderators and they will send you the link via Discord. If you do not have Discord, they will post the link in chat once you click it.
And then I'll head out.
They'll delete it.
Yep.
You don't have to delete. You don't have to head out. We can have.
Well, I know that you like to run a tight show.
I like to keep it 6 and under. It's just a
Well,
personal
I
thing.
like 4 and under. I'm with you.
I know you do. I know
I'm
you
with you.
do. Yeah,
People
I
get
think
out of
more the
control,
merrier.
you know.
I
I
know.
think more the merrier. And then
But
I gotta
people get
yell
out
at
of control,
people.
Glenn. You know what I mean?
That's
People
what he
don't
does.
know.
I know. I'm always yelling at
Hello,
people.
Glenn.
Hey,
How you
Jess.
feeling?
You know, I've been better.
It's good to hear from you.
Thank you. It's good to be heard from.
That's
It's
right.
good to know that you're still alive. We're all worried
Yeah.
about you.
I have to be honest. When Glenn called me, when Glenn called me, it scared me when I was in the dentist office because the way he was talking, I could hear the fear in Glenn's voice. Like I've never heard Glenn like be afraid or be anything but
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you
Right.
talking
absolutely
about?
nonchalant, be absolutely cool. And he was like, this could be it. I'm
Shit's
like,
going down.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, Glenn can't be talking like this. I would have reached it across the if it were possible, if we had slap-a-vision, I would have reached across the phone and slapped his ass. We don't have slap-a-vision.
Just the reality when they tell you like, hey, this is what you're having.
I know,
And
dude,
then
I
you look
know.
at you look at the odds of like how many people survive. You know what I'm saying?
I'm serious. I mean, I knew it was serious because I could hear it in Glenn's voice. Like it wasn't like when he had the car wreck and he called me, he's like, yeah, I had a car wreck. What are you doing? It was
I don't think I could even get like words out. Like
I know.
It's just like it's hard to breathe.
I know.
Like right now I have to I have a countdown on my clock where I gotta take I have to stop what I'm doing and then take my next dosage of medicine. But that's gonna be my life now. Like everything's according to a schedule.
Gotta embrace it.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's no joke.
It is.
It's no joke. I really was, but I mean that was that it unnerved, you know, and again, I don't really get that involved with other people's issues, right?
I'm sorry I disrupted your day.
Dude, no, you were literally
we'll talk later, Grid. We'll talk.
Not the cap.
We can talk later.
I had to So
you're supposed to get your teeth
I'm literally
done.
sitting in the chair. I want to paint a picture for you, Mikey Balls. I'm literally sitting in the chair getting my teeth x-rayed where I had a crown break out of my tooth. It didn't just pop out, it like broke out, right?
I've had a few of that happen. I have messed up teeth.
And I'm like, and my phone rings and it's Glenn. And I literally told the x-ray lady, I'm like, whoa, stop. I'm gonna super chat, guys. Give me 1 second.
Mr. Bulle donated $20. This super chat is sponsored by Tactical Soap from Grondike Soap Company. We at Tactical Soap are grateful our brand ambassador is recovering. Another Glenn commemorative soap scent is in the works. Try Tactical Soap today.
He must have done that through Streamlabs because it's
Yeah,
not showing.
and then pop up over here.
It didn't pop up, yeah. He did it through Streamlabs. That's awesome.
Dope. That's awesome, actually. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So I literally stopped the x-ray lady from doing the x-ray and she's like, I'm like, hey, I gotta take this to my buddy. I haven't heard from him. So Glenn gets on. Glenn can barely talk.
Oh shit.
Like it really sounds like he's like this is serious. And he's saying, I know I can hear that he's upset. I can hear that he's really, really, all right, I won't say that he was afraid. He was very concerned about his health. And it was a conversation that only two men could have with each other. I told him
in that moment too.
I told him more or less to, you know, he was going to be cool, you know, just do what they say, and I'm condensing things. It was a little bit longer conversation. It wasn't a long conversation. And that I asked him, I said, I can't come see you, but somebody needs to come see you. Josie's in the area. Can I have Josie come see you? And he's like, that would be great. And we just,
Yeah, poor thing. She ended up calling the hospital and finding out I already was like released.
hello, Richard.
And I just messaged her. I was like, yeah, I'm home now. So
Yeah. She
tried,
was really stressed about it yesterday. She really had a lot of stuff going on, but
yeah.
And Glenn, look, man, I'm not trying to like throw you under a bus here or anything, man.
No,
like
when
it was like Glenn's like I could die. Like I may not come out of here.
It's a serious moment. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Reed,
think,
when you came onto my channel, you looked worried as about him, like really concerned.
I was worried.
Yeah,
It was legit. Yeah.
And I had just had my tooth and it took them. What was really annoying is I felt like, man, I really need to get somewhere where I can talk to everybody about this. And they were literally drilling on my teeth for like 2 hours.
And you couldn't stop bleeding.
Hi, Richard, too, by the way. Sorry I didn't say hello when you first came up.
It's one thing to like to die and you're looking down like the barrel of a gun and like, all right, your time is up, right? Like you're done, right? It's just gonna happen. But then there's another thing to know that like this thing is gonna kill you, and it could kill you at any moment, and it may be a day, maybe a month, it could be even a year, whatever. Like you could do all the right things and you could still die. And when you look around the room and you're empty, it's empty. It's like nobody, like you're like, nobody knows. Nobody's going to know. Right. And that kind of messes with you, and it's like, nobody wants you. Everybody dies alone. Nobody dies with you, but nobody wants to die alone. And for whatever situation, whatever why I was, alone in my room, that's my story to tell. But when you look around and it was just like, hey, this could be it, Greg. Like this could be the it for me. And I just wanted.
He didn't have anybody there with him. I don't think his dad was there yet.
Yeah, like nobody was there.
His wife wasn't there. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, it tore me up, dude. I honestly, I can't tell you.
And I always wondered, like, I always wondered why Thor wanted somebody at the hospital every time he went. Like, like Thor, like you're a strong man. Like you've been electrocuted. You've been 25,000 volts of electricity passed through you and you still didn't die. Like what are you worried about? But when he had his brain surgery, he wanted somebody there with him all the time. And I just didn't understand why. And until now I understood why, because it's like when you go, nobody's gonna be able to tell you how you went, like what your last moments were, your last words were, your final thoughts, like your final anything. It's just you in a room with the machine that beeps, and that is it.
Coming in, Glenn, I'm sorry.
KR0N05420 donated $10.
So I want to say, Glenn, congratulations.
Bish. Tomorrow or 100 years from now can be our time. We all end alone, no matter the reason or who is holding your hand. You are fucking alone, honestly, as the hand being held for the...
So welcome to a new stage of your adulthood.
So do I get a big boy pant card now? Like
a bigger boy.
Do I get free breakfast at Denny's?
Not yet. No, sorry.
Give me just 1 minute. Let me read these guys, and then we'll jump right back into it. $5 from Raging Patriot. Mods will and are, I'm assuming, is what he meant to say. In charge of promotions, do not spam the chat with other channels' info or going live. That's disrespectful and derails the chat and show. Only mods can do that. So if you're doing it in a weird way, please stop that. So I don't know about that. And then we had the TTS come in, which I don't think Richard, you can't hear that. Since we're in the studio, we can't hear the TTS that goes out over the channel. So you weren't aware of that. But it was $10 from Chronos 420. Bish, tomorrow or 100 years from now can be our time. We all end alone, no matter the reason or who is holding your hand. You are fucking alone, honestly, as the hand being held for the surviving end. It's an interesting thought, but it does parallel what I told Glenn. I was like, Glenn said we all die alone, and I said, yes, that's true. Whether we're in a room full of people or all by ourselves, we all move on alone. And so I, again, in that moment, it was really an interesting moment for two people to have, and then for me to not really be able to do anything for the next 2 hours, but think about that.
You almost feel helpless. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, it was an interesting experience, not one I relished. And then of course I had to come online and tell everybody that Glenn and Glenn was able to eventually start talking to people.
I think it was like I think I talked to you on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday, Grid?
Yeah, early
Yeah,
Wednesday.
so I went in the hospital Tuesday, the day before, and I couldn't talk.
I know you sent me this weird ass picture.
That was the least, that was as most I could do.
I know.
Like
I know that now, but I was like, honestly,
my breathing was like I was like it.
I have to tell you, man, the last thing I heard from you was that you were leaving. That you were meeting up with not Pearl, but you were meeting up with somebody after the Jubilee thing. You had to call Pearl or something, and then you were headed home. I swear to God, I thought you'd been in a motorcycle accident. Swear to God.
No, I think it was probably the last I talked to you. Then was like I'm dropping Andrew off at the airport.
Yes.
And then we just wrapped up at Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like that was the yeah. And then
the next thing I know, nobody's heard from you, which isn't unusual. And then
I was already starting to feel it. Like, so the doctor thinks that like it's starting to feel it on Sunday night, Monday, and then by Tuesday, like I cannot bear the pain. So like I went like a whole day and a half without like trying to go to the doctor. Like whatever the pain was, I figured like I pulled a muscle or something, or I got like a rib. Like, when your rib slips into your lung, right? That's kind of like how it felt, but like way worse. Like, with that shortness of breath, when you feel like your rib is in your lung, that's what it felt like. Like it felt like, but that's like, that's the closest to the.
Actually, you got to tell me what that means. What do you mean your rib slipped into your lung? I've no.
As a bodybuilder, this kind of happens to a lot of bodybuilders that like squat like really heavy. I remember one time when I was squatting like a 500. This is the first time this ever happened. My rib, like I tweaked my body wrong when I had the weight bearing on my shoulders, and in doing so, as I was going down, like my rib slipped, and it slipped as if it was puncturing my lung. So like it felt like your rib was puncturing your lung, and basically I had to get my body readjusted readjust like my back, stretch me out, and then do the chiropractic whatever shit, twist my legs over this way and then crack my back and then all kinds of weird stuff. But that was the closest to explaining what it was like when I woke up, Monday. I'm just like, all right, I must have like tossed and turned last night real hard. Must have had a rough dream when I turned or slept on something wrong, and it felt like my rib was like in my lung. And so like the breathing was short. You're not really wheezing, but you're just kind of like everything's really shallow. You can't really inhale like you normally would. And because I have 2 herniated discs, like I would understand like, okay, this could be a back issue, this could be a spinal thing. That's why I didn't like rush to the hospital right away.
It sounds like it was actually a heart thing, was it?
No, it was a lung thing.
A lung thing. Okay.
Yeah, pulmonary embolism is when you have a blood clot from a lower extremity, and it passes through the heart, and it goes and it gets lodged in the lung, and it could cause it to burst. Right.
Damn.
And if it causes it to burst, that you're dead.
And you could have internal bleeding. You'll bleed.
Or you're just dead in a matter of minutes. Luckily for me, that did not happen. But what ended up happening was that one blood clot that was behind my knee, it broke up to like a bunch of tons of little blood clots. So my right lung was full, or both of my lungs, I should say, were full of blood clots, little blood clots. I started thinking like I had like mucus, so I'm like spitting up like what I think is mucus is like, but it's all just blood clots, just loogies of just blood clots.
Yeah, I saw a girlfriend do that one
Damn.
time, and all
That's
she was
brutal.
doing was snow sledding with the kids and hit a bump.
Yeah.
And it broke something loose, got up in her lungs. She was coughing out golf balls of blood. Yeah.
Yep.
1 every 3 minutes.
Terrible.
And like her breathing was probably really shallow. And that's
Also
what
very,
I was
very
dealing with.
distraught, obviously. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And so that's what I was dealing with, like all of, Monday, Tuesday. And then I finally went in on Tuesday, and they were like, we need you to stay here.
I know she wasn't too bad off because she still managed to blame me. So I thought that was a good sign.
Oh, yeah. But then, I remember when I finally got a hold of Grid, I think that was on Wednesday. And I don't think I told anybody at this point. I think all I was able to send them was a picture of the medical bracelet on my wrist, so they knew that I was in the hospital. And that's as much as I could tell anybody. And when I talked to Grid, I just remember looking around. I'm like, this could be it. There's a lot of people have died from this thing. And I'm in this room and nobody will know.
What'd they do to stop the bleeding in your lungs? Did they go in through your esophagus or?
No, so it's all medication. So the blood thinners that I'm on is thinning out the blood. That's going to help get rid of the blood clots. Right. I'm on multiple medications. And like, so they're basically, I'm on blood clots blood thinners for the rest of my life.
Right on. Yeah, probably.
And
hey, Glenn, not to interfere, but I'm fading, guys. Much love and respect to you guys. Glenn, I hope you feel better, man. Much love, honor, respect to you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And
good night,
see you guys on the flip side. See you guys.
Take it easy, Mike.
See you, Jess. See you, Glenn.
So it was just like, like knowing that, like, okay, if this thing takes me right now, nobody knows why. Nobody knows like my last thoughts or anything. And that was probably the most scariest part of it. Like you just going and then nobody knows. You know. So I just wanted to, when I could talk, I wanted to get a hold of somebody. So I got, called Grid and was like, look, man, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm at. And this is the reality of it. And at least somebody knows now, like at least somebody knows. And it's a long road, long road ahead. I'm nowhere near out of the woods. That's the reality. I'm home now, but I'm nowhere near out of the woods. Like I have to be checked on once a month for now, but like they want to we'll have to do a scan on my lungs once a month, and then some other stuff. Basically, I'll be in the doctor's like pretty much.
Could I make a suggestion? Because of this big change, you're probably not very, very prepared for it. You weren't expecting something like this. I really recommend that you get a notebook, that you attach a pen to it, and you're going to have a lot of new thoughts. I really recommend you write them down.
You know what? That was the first thing this old doctor came in and he said to me, he was like, get a notepad, write down everything.
Yeah.
He's like, technology is great. You can voice record. He's like, you could do that too. But there's something about handwritten notes that are very, very important.
So, so what's the expression about two witnesses?
Well, there two or more are gathered.
No. Yeah, you can know a thing is true because there'll be two witnesses, something like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's close enough for this situation.
Yeah. No, and the funny thing, I did order a notebook from Amazon when I got home.
Good.
I was like, okay. And so it is what it is. It's still kind of surreal. Everything is really kind of surreal, and I really didn't want to derail Grid's, show about this.
Is it okay?
Well, I mean, we are talking about change, sir.
I mean, is it okay if he loves you and wants to devote some time to this? Because
it kind of makes him a little gay.
I mean, we're men of that age,
Yeah, that's true. No. It's totally fine. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to make it his show about me. It's just his show. But
there might be topics more important than this one, but there are not topics more immediately important than this one.
That's a great way to put that, Richard. That is excellent.
That is a nice way. That's a good way of saying things. Yeah.
I stopped my show the other day and talked about it. And then when I went on Jess's show, that's all I talked about was, I gave them an update. So out of it, I couldn't.
He even interrupted our conversation. He interrupted our conversation in the middle of our conversation just to talk about you, Glenn.
And so I know that must have been difficult because Aussies do not like to be interrupted.
No, I didn't mind.
I actually, to be honest with you, I don't really care much what Aussies like. I mean, they barely exist as people. So,
yeah, like it's gonna be interesting.
I'm teasing Jess. I'm teasing you.
Like
if you don't want me, you could just tell me to fuck off like a normal person.
No. I save the fuck offs for the important people.
Like I've trained people like with medical.
We have a TTS coming in, Glenn.
Okay.
Angel Berber donated $10 super chat. Glenn, please talk to family and friends and make amends of anything sitting on your shoulders, so no matter what, if the worst happens in the future you will have no regrets and have peace.
That was excellent. That was absolutely an excellent TTS. I will read that one again since I know that the panelists cannot hear it. $10 from the Angel Berber. Glenn, please talk to family and friends and make amends of anything sitting on your shoulders. So no matter what, if the worst happens in the future, you will have no regrets and have peace. So that actually is something interesting that I do in my life. I don't know that other people do this, and I've talked about this, and I've had a little bit of fun poked at me about this, but I live my life without regret of any kind. If I do not go to sleep unless I either have solved or have a way to solve an issue, right? I've resolved it in my head so that if I don't wake up again, that's it. I'm leaving as little behind unattended to as possible. And I've done that for a few decades now, since I was in high school, actually. When I was in military school, one of the things that Colonel Spain always told us was that if you go to sleep with unresolved problems and you have not mentally resolved those, then how can you even sleep, right? So if I'm angry,
Grid, I gotta reset my computer real quick, or it's about to reset on me. I will hop back in as soon as I can, as soon as it's done resetting.
You're totally cool, man. I'll just sit here and monologue for another hour. I'm just
okay. I'll be right back. It's telling me,
kidding,
give me a countdown. So let me let it go ahead and do this. I'll be back.
Yeah. So, and then there were 3. The whole I try and live with as little regret as possible. So, not always possible, but as
that could be a quote from Christ, right? What you
really?
just said. Yes, sir.
It could be.
No, I don't mean theoretically. I mean it's in the text of the Bible.
I believe that it could be, but I do not read the Bible nearly enough as I should. And I tend to reread specific sections because they help me more than others. And that's a bad habit.
In the King James, it ended up rendered as, the translation got rendered as, let not the sun set on your anger.
That could be what Colonel Spain meant.
It's good wisdom.
I go a little bit further than that. Like if I'm angry with my wife, we don't go to sleep until it's settled.
That's right. Good for you.
If I have a problem with something my son did, we sort that out. We have a plan in place. If I'm having trouble at work, before I go to sleep, and I usually start really early, like I try not to let things build up so that, again, if I just disappeared, there wouldn't be a big mess. You understand? I wouldn't be in a situation of saying, man, I really wish I'd told Richard that I really don't think he's a jackass, right? Because I would have said that to you before then, right?
Right. Absolutely. I like to thank moms for all their work. I like to thank dads who didn't run away. I do this every day with everyone I can see who can accept it. If I hear someone compliment someone else, right, I'll tell them you're telling the wrong person. You ought to be telling them. And given the opportunity, I'm going to relate it for them.
That's a good way to do things as well. That's solid. I think that I really believe that the more weight that you carry around, the worse it is for you in every aspect, right? And by weight, I mean that's the things that you need to do, but you haven't done them, and you probably won't have time to do them. And the more, and it could be anything. It could be as simple as telling your wife that you love her. It could be as simple as telling your mom that that you have in your mind, you've let go of every single thing that you ever thought about blaming.
Your microphone is suddenly going to trash.
Really?
And I heard a popping noise right before it started. Yes.
Chat, how's my mic? Is it
It's
bad?
back.
It's back?
It's back. I don't know what that was, but
oh, weird. But the internet may have lagged or something.
Don't know.
But I do believe that every day, you know, and look, I think I really can take no credit for any of this. Okay. I went to a military school with old guard type people, you know. Colonel Spain had served all over the world. He'd been to Vietnam. He cleaned up the Jim Jones mess. I'm sure you remember that.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a horrible assignment.
Yes, I mean, you can think about going down and all of those people, the families having been putrefied in the jungle for weeks and having
Was it?
to.
I had no idea.
When the army went down to remove the bodies, it had been at least 2 weeks, I believe. And so it was terrible. You know, just imagine having to go down and see all of this and to deal with it. It's just a horrible thing that, you know, how do you mentally get through that if you can't make peace with it while you're doing it, right? And I'm not saying that you have to like fix it, but you have to make peace with it. You have to resolve it in your head that I can't do anything about this. I can't do anything about so-and-so being angry with me. I've done all I can. I will try this at the earliest opportunity, but I can't do anything about somebody being angry at me right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's the difficult part. Let's say the sun is setting and you have anger in your heart, but you went to that person and you tried to make amends, apologies, explanations, etc. But they won't accept it. Well, if they won't accept your best efforts, then unfortunately what you have to do is you have to accept the situation. You have to look at the putrefied body and say, well, it's dead.
Yeah. Right. And that's and I feel very fortunate that I was around the men that I was around. I had that opportunity. Most people don't. Most people go through life, they never learn they never have any sort of code. They never have any sort of honor. They never have any sort of metric by which to measure their day. And the best they can do is flail at it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. For most people, it's the best they can hope for.
I think there's something wrong with it. I think there's a real lack of men in that person's life showing them the correct way so that life is good for them. That's sad. It should have been fixed.
I agree with that part. With that part of it, I agree that it is sad. But there are many things in life that are sad. You know, it is sad.
No, good point. Sad but avoidable. You're right. Sad but avoidable.
Yeah. So you know, it's sad when a baby duck gets swallowed by a fish, but that fish has to eat, right? Like that's the way of the world, you know. So it's sad to watch something happen that you may not agree with, and it may affect you on a really deep personal level. It is sad, and it is wrongly assumed sometimes to be a hardening of the heart to come to these conclusions, right? I don't blame the wolf for killing the deer any more than I blame the deer for running from the wolf, right? I mean, that's both things have to happen, right? That has to work.
Sure.
And and just as in life, for between you and I, for example, if I were to be angry with you, which I wouldn't be, but if I were, and I never said a word to you about it, you couldn't know that I was angry. You have no reason to do anything about it. If I told you, hey man, you did this and that, I felt I really feel like you did something wrong there. And you said, I disagree. I think it was a perfect response, but I'll look at it, but I disagree with you. If I continue to be angry about it, what can you do? You can't do anything, right? It's on me.
I've heard it said that anger is like having a rat that lives in your house, and you want the rat to die, so you consume rat poison.
That's good. I like that a lot. I like that a lot, Richard. I
think that's really true.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt the person that you hate. It hurts you.
Michelle brings up a really good point. She had to learn how to not grieve over roadkill. And it's an interesting thing because I look at it. Huh?
It's so sweet.
I know, right? It's just,
I grew up on a farm. I mean, when I was 8, I was killing animals. You know.
Right. And I grew up in the South and in the rural area and similar thing. To me, it's why would it not be that way? Right. I can't help it not be that way. But I look at people who say, I could never kill an animal. I could never hurt a person. And I'm somebody that I fought all the time. And I was okay with it. Like I wasn't angry that I had, well, we lost Jess. That's okay.
That happens.
Yeah. Australia. Yeah.
Our internet has to be processed twice because it's naturally upside down.
Yes.
And they have to flip it over, and that's, the connection doesn't stay very good that way.
It's true. But it really doesn't hurt me. It doesn't affect me in any negative way to have to deal with anger, having to hurt someone, having to kill an animal for food, or just to kill an animal to protect my food. None of this affects me in any specific way whatsoever. This is just the way the world is, right? But in our modernity, we've lost, I think, and I think you alluded to it earlier, we've lost a great number of men to teach other men how to be men. And we just don't have enough to go around. That's my opinion. I would love to hear your opinion on it.
I think in order to keep a people oppressed, you have to keep them in fear. Fear being, because the truth of the matter is, biologically, evolutionarily, it's much easier to die than stay alive. And that's just obvious as soon as you say it, right? So we have a lot of fear-based responses that keep us alive, and that's a healthy thing overall, but it's hard for the body. So governments, historically, will take advantage of a person's natural tendency toward being too fearful in order to assure life, and use that as a methodology of control. So, of course, they're going to keep us under the stressors of believing we're on the edge of a war, we're this close away, or a major war, or having little wars all the time helps to keep people in control in that way. So I think that's actually what's going on.
I like that. I mean, I don't necessarily, I'd have to parse through it to say I agree 100%, but it's pretty good. That's pretty good. Welcome, John Mosman. If you would like, you're welcome to come up and chat with us. I don't know that I've had a demolished doctrine fellow and a Christian anarchist on panel at the same time, or on stage at the same time. But
what's Christian anarchy mean? Sorry.
Well, you would have to ask him.
Okay.
I have $2 from Chronos 420. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the donation. I think we can all agree ducks are food, but it's, and he leaves off there. I don't know what he intended.
I think any person who says I could never kill for food has never had their body change because they are literally starving to death.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people who say that they could never kill anything or anyone have never had to do violence, and they've never really had violence done to them. They've been so sheltered that they honestly cannot process actual violence.
Sure. And I much prefer the majority of society, especially young people, to remain that way.
Interesting. Why is that?
I think I was 13, maybe 15 years old. And again, living in a very rural area. Went ahead and accepted that if I'm going to have a woman and I'm going to have children, then I'm the thing that, if the situation arises and is necessity, I'm the thing that dies, not them.
Mm.
And I think, were that not the natural situation of men, the human race wouldn't be here right now. I'd have never been born. Many generations ago, we all would have perished. Oh, but I think I gave you a half a thought in my last comment. So men being at war is greatly adding to, unfortunate the fact that there are wars, but men being at war is greatly adding to the depletion of the necessary and useful male role model. And I think that's a really sin against the people.
It's interesting. What's your position on the rhetoric that to know great peace, you must be able to do great violence? What's your opinion on that?
To know great peace, you must be able to do, or willing to do, able to do great violence.
Yeah, willing and able. I don't know you need to be willing to do it, but you need to understand that you can do it. I don't know that
true and not true. True and not true. I want to tack on to the end of it a little caveat for a very small portion of the population. I mean, I'll agree with it. If we'll say a very small portion of the population must accept and or do that, then I'll agree.
Okay. Can you give me the caveat that I'm looking, that I'm just, maybe I'm not making the connection?
Okay, if we tack on the end of it, that only a very small portion of the population needs to do that, and all the rest of the population should be protected from it, so they don't have to do that, then I can agree.
I see. So would you say that most men, not all, but most men should be capable of great violence and understand not to use violence except when necessary, whereas pretty much all women should never know violence?
Yeah, in the way of physical combat kind of violence, yes, I think women should not even know what that is. Not firsthand, anyway. They can know about it. That's fine, but I think it's
esoterically understanding it is one thing, but yeah,
right. I think it's bad for society when women and or children are exposed to it, experience it firsthand. I think that is absolutely horrible. It's interesting. The word meek was a translation of a Hebrew word. An Aramaic Hebrew idea written, of course, in Greek, New Testament. But meek shall inherit the earth, right? And you think, well, what's meek in our culture? Well, it's someone who's mousy and they keep their head down and they just kind of keep to themselves. They don't mess with people. No, that's not what meek means. Meek means to be well trained with the sword, but to keep it in its scabbard.
Yes, that's true. I'm sorry, I got distracted momentarily. You are correct. Meek does not mean that you are a studious, learned, frail, whatever. It literally means that you are armed, but you choose not to do violence.
I have a friend, a woman friend who's married. She said the sexiest thing is that She has this man in her life that she trusts, that she is absolutely sure could overpower her and break her at any time. And he doesn't.
So my wife has said the number one thing that drew her to me was the fact that I am absolutely capable and willing to use violence. And she always felt, and therefore she always felt safe with me.
Amen.
And it wasn't just that I was a big, because I've never been particularly big, but strong, whatever. But I've demonstrated great violence, and therefore she knew that existed within me. And instead of being afraid of it, that gave her comfort, which is odd.
Because it's not pointed toward her.
Exactly.
She's the exception to the rule. That's that trust in love, that form of security. Of course, my theory is there's 3 forms of security for a woman that she's going to find attractive: physical, financial, and emotional. The more you can provide of any of those, the better off you are.
And now the fun starts, because we have the anarcho-Christian in the house. Welcome, John Mosman, and welcome, Clover Tack. I know your beard is fantastic, and I must inquire about your health, sir. You have not been on the past couple of days, so
I've just been busy. No. I've just been busy. I mean, it was good to see Glenn. Earlier. That's great. I hate that he's having the issues he's having, but no, I mean, I'm still having issues and whatever, but I mean, I'm better, and I mean, we'll get it sorted out. So don't freak too much.
Would you guys stop trying to die?
That's what
no. If you could just put a little more effort into living.
Well, Glenn and we've got a competition going, man. That's all I can tell you.
All right.
I don't know if it's a competition to see who could die first or who dies.
I think a beard competition sounds way better to me.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I would lose that to a lot of people, but
that's okay.
It's all good.
Winning is not always it is always the point. However, it's not always the reward you're looking for.
If you ain't first, you're last, man. That's what I heard.
I've heard that, but I still got paid for 3rd place. So
this is true. Or 5th, or like 8th. Yeah.
Yeah. John Mosman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I just did some recording on a podcast, and then earlier today I was, it's time of year you always like to watch scary movies, and one of my favorite movies is The Shining, so it's a good movie for sure.
Okay.
So, but yeah. I love Stephen King. It's his works are so amazing because there's always a supernatural element with a psychological, deep-seated emotional thing, and really, the Shining is really the story about whether a man will let his alcoholism destroy his family or whether he'll overcome it, and that's a great. I think it's a great interesting story because. If you read the book, if you've seen the movie, it's unfortunate. That's one of the reasons why Stephen King hates the movie. But
you don't think the man was under demonic influence?
He was both, but they and they kind of in the movie they kind of don't really show it. In the book, though, they're slowly offering him drinks, and they're using that as a way for them to get into him. He's still under the influences of it. Obviously, the hotel has that influence over him, but it's using his alcoholism. So basically, he goes there clean. He's trying to stay away from it, and the hotel uses that as a way to try to what it wants, which is it wants the kid. So once the kid's essence or spirit there. So yeah,
interesting.
So. But I love The Shining, and I love Stephen King's works. And Doctor Sleep is really good, and I still surprised that movie ever got made and that they ever did it, because that that exposes a lot of stuff that they're doing in Hollywood. I'm gonna leave that there. So.
What was it you disagreed with from the chat?
Oh, I just on the meekness. I don't think it's I think from what I have read, the meekness is the, you know, obviously in that same chapter there in the Beatitudes, he talks about blessed are the peacemakers. And so obviously, you know, there are times when you know there is violence, you know, that there will have those times, but they're very rare and they're very little. And I think the man who is able to you know, bestill himself, I think if you look at throughout the Bible, it talks about the ability to be disciplined, the ability to, you know, having your being kind, being gentle. I know a lot of people don't like that in the red pill space, but the Bible does advocate for men to be gentle when called for, and if unnecessarily uncalled for, it's a hard thing. So, but I do think that meekness is understanding a lot of different things, and it's interesting when you look at the Beatitudes, because a lot of people can take it in a very physical sense or a literal sense. I mean, or a very symbolic sense. So, but to me, I believe that when men engage in violence, for the most part, usually what is the result of that is because of their ego and their pride, and that itself is a sin. So the only exception I think on that would be defense, self-defense. That's the only thing I think would be justified violence. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Are we talking about violence towards one another or violence in general?
And well, violence in general. I mean, to me, yeah.
Okay.
But it's also not just about violence. I think meek also is also being willing to not be disagreeable. Oops, I put the wrong one there, did I? No, I did. But not being disagreeable, and I think finding commonality. You know, the Bible tells us not to quarrel over lots of controversies. In fact, in Jude, it tells us that is actually devoid of the Spirit, are people who just arbitrarily get into arguments and fights, and they have no good reason for it. You know.
So you use the word. You said self-defense, or did you say defense? You said defense or self-defense.
I said self-defense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to put words in.
Oh
your
yeah,
mouth.
I appreciate that.
Not that I don't think it matters necessarily, but I just wanted to be clear. Would a more accurate way to put that be justified? And let me ask, because you said, okay, we're not talking about human on human. We're talking violence transcends that. You said that because I asked, is it to one another? And you said, no, not necessarily.
Right.
So between man to animal, let's say, there can be violence.
Right.
But there's justified violence.
Right.
Right. Hunting would be justified.
Oh well, yeah. And I
I
wouldn't even consider animals to be in the same purview of when it comes to men, because since in my belief, since the fall, all of creation has fallen into sin, and therefore animals, you know, they are dangerous. And so and also I do believe that there are, obviously from a hunting perspective especially, I mean, if people don't think that you shouldn't hunt or you shouldn't kill animals, I think if you look at like places where when deer population goes way over, you see all the disease. So I think it's good stewardship.
You see massive vehicle accidents. You see the loss of crop.
Yep.
And that extends further into nuisance with wild pigs, for example, with the property damage, with cattle, tripping and falling in holes, and horses, and other things where that you can potentially have higher tier, more valuable animals or livestock potentially that affect the livelihood of a farmer or a rancher, that sort of thing. And then so, it's not, you go out and you take 20 hogs in a night or 20 pigs in a night, to try to affect the natural balance, right, in a positive way. And so when it comes to, I've always looked at the violence aspect with animals, that we were tasked with being basically stewards of the planet, right? Adam was tasked with that, right? He was to rule over and that includes keeping the populations in check, making sure that they're not, destroying crops and, all of that kind of stuff. Would you disagree with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that I don't know if animals in the Garden of Eden were, if there was an issue with overpopulation. Again, like I said, I think all of those things, it's from a theological aspect, I kind of would shy away from that. But I do believe that we are supposed to be stewards. And I believe, despite what some people might want to think, destruction is a natural part of restoration. So like, and you'll see it. For example,
well, the earth
remember
was
as a
destroyed.
kid, right after that big fire that they had up at Yellowstone, going up to Yellowstone, and just seeing all those trees, and that could have been avoided if they did preventative burns. If they, I mean, so we know that if you kind of just let things happen, and this is kind of like these liberal, in quote unquote environmentalist types that believe, oh well, if we just let nature, do its course, that it would go back to this semblance of order and perfect harmony, and it's not, and the world is in disharmony. And so therefore, as a result, in order to keep that type of thing, the world constantly is employing destructive powers, and there is something to be said about when something dies, something is able to grow again. If and so obviously I think that goes into that. So taking care of animals now, because they don't have the ability to understand, oh wait a minute, I shouldn't be overpopulating this area. That morally and that responsibility falls on mankind, and that's why hunting is
for
good.
both of you. Sorry, every time I think you're pausing, you start again.
Okay, good. You're good.
I just don't know you very well, and I apologize for that. Newness will wear off. Familiarity will happen with time. I have something for both of you. Okay, we killed off wolves and natural predators because they eat us too. So in eliminating them from whatever area, we have to take the responsibility that they normally, naturally, that niche that they filled in doing things like culling herds of white-tailed deer. So it's not so much that deer just overpopulate and there's no balancing act in nature whatsoever. It's that we don't like wolves. If John, there was something about what you'd said, and I don't want to misrepresent you whatsoever, but would ask instead, what did wolves eat in the Garden of Eden, or the dog animal, the dog-like creature? What did it eat in the Garden of Eden?
For me, from a theological perspective, I do believe that the necessity for animals to eat flesh was not there. So now here's the thing. I know that I do believe that the garden and what existed kind of in its own special place, and there were other places within the world that also existed at the same time. So whether there were I can't even say that word, carnivorous animals in other places of the world at the time of the garden, I wouldn't know. But I do believe that in the garden there wasn't any. So,
have you ever seen any kind of wolf or any kind of hound try to eat vegetables?
No, yeah, they can't. Yeah.
So did they have grinding teeth and chopping teeth at the time, and got sharp teeth for tearing flesh later? Or how does that work?
I don't know if there was an adaptation there or not. All I can say is I don't know on that.
What do you think right now? I'm not asking you to plant a flag and die there.
Right. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know. We're not told if there were those types of animals in the garden. So, for myself, whether they adapted into that or not, it's obvious that for a long time they've had that ability and they've had those, have had that. So obviously to now feed them something like vegetables, so.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it's, I don't believe it because I go back to the fact that for me, and a huge theological point is that death was not a natural thing at the beginning of creation, and it came as a result of sin. So that's why I stand with
a lot of people hold to that. I personally don't. I think
yeah,
that
I understand.
That is a traditional and majorative reading. I just think it's also an incorrect reading.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you believe more like at the fall, God relinquished or maybe loosened his restrictions with death, like it existed, but he allowed it more often after the fall?
Well, again, to me, I go into believing that the death was not a natural part of life, and that death came. It could have existed other places. I don't know if it existed in the Garden of Eden. I don't believe it did. I do believe I take serious what the Bible says, where it says the wages of sin is death, and as a result, that is the consequence of sin in the world is death. So,
well, could it have existed? Could obviously, I mean, it almost had to have existed, whether it was as an idea from the creator, whether it was employed or not, I would think. But
right,
if
it
is plausible that it was not allowed for man until the fall, but other things it was. Couldn't that be plausible?
It could be possible, yeah.
I don't really want to start a 3-hour conversation, so I'm going to say,
I do.
I know. You have to get here earlier. I tend to wrap up right around 11.
Yeah.
But so you have to get here earlier. But we'll probably run a little late tonight just because this is really good stuff. So I have the wolf thing's an interesting dynamic because we as humans tend to overthink things a lot when the simplest answer is usually probably the better answer. For example, we understood 80 years ago, 100 years ago, that to allow the wolves to remain running free and wild through the West, especially in Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, we would lose a lot of the herd animals that we need that we use for food, and not just cows, but deer and elk and moose. So we hunted those fuckers to extinction in some areas. There were bounties placed on wolves for a reason, but we forgot that. This is why I think that from time to time, I think God has a brilliant sense of humor. Because we've forgotten that there was a reason we hunted the wolves to the brink of extinction. And now we've undone that. And what's happening in Colorado, especially, is horrible. Wyoming is as bad.
Did they bring in an alien wolf population somewhere in Colorado and just set them free? What did they do?
So there weren't any wolves in Colorado. They've been hunted out of the area. They were basically there were very few packs of wolves. Most of them had retreated into Canada, way up in North and South Dakota, in areas where, they couldn't breed fast enough to become a problem.
Okay.
Right. Like mountain lion, which mountain lions are about to become a problem because they're the new wolves. We'll get there. But for whatever reason, we think we're smart. Humans believe that we know like really interesting things that we did know. We really did know. Our forefathers were not wrong.
Well, they weren't stupid either.
They weren't stupid. They understood. They lived in the world that we observe. And that's not a play on words. That's an accurate statement. They lived in the world that we only observe. We look at it, we don't understand it.
Right.
They lived in it like every day. That's what they were.
A man much wiser than I once said, before tearing down a fence, ask why it was built.
Right.
Yep. That's a good quote.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very true.
You know who said that, don't you?
Washington?
No, it was Robert Frost said that.
Robert Frost, really?
Yeah. Before you tear down a fence, know why it was built in the first place.
It sounds like something George Washington would say.
It would sound like something and it doesn't sound like something Robert Frost would say, but it is.
To your point, their grid with Colorado or whatever, it's a sad state of affairs. Some states, their Parks and Wildlife Department does a really, really bang up good job with wildlife management and whatnot across the board. They adjust their bag limits every year in certain areas. They're constantly doing research. I mean, they are legit. Your hunting license, I know a lot of people complain about the hunting license, but they legit put that money, and then of course taxpayer dollars too, to pretty good use. Not just for those that hunt, but those that grow crops, for those for your vehicle insurance.
It is
for
wildlife
animals,
right?
Right.
It is.
Wildlife management absolutely affects everybody, whether you think it does or not. Some say I don't know Colorado and their state of affairs with it. I don't know. I just know here in Texas they do an absolutely amazing job. Some states do not.
If you had to guess, to anyone can answer this, even you, Glenn. I see you there. Even though you're transparent at the moment. If you had to guess, what do you think would happen if you released wolves into an area where there are no predators that they must live in fear of?
They would overpopulate and they would spread.
What do you think that would do to, say,
they would demolish other populations,
elk and moose populations that sustain most of the wildlife management funding for the year?
Yeah.
That might be a problem, right?
Yeah. That's a great point.
Well, you got to keep the apex. The apex has to be kept in
check.
Yeah, it's harder to. It's easier for. How do I word this? Dang, I don't know how I want to put it. It's when you're dealing with the apex predators, you need the apex hunters, right? Essentially, right? Whereas with your game animals, it's real easy to issue hunting license. People eat those for meat. There's much more of a use for that type of thing, and all you have to worry about is potentially crops right?
Right.
Is
Right.
the most you really have to worry about with that. You don't have a huge risk of, campers, hikers being attacked,
Right.
all
Right.
kinds of other issues with the human population that you would the apex.
Right. Well, I know
Well,
where
what's
I live
happening-
here that there's so we don't in where I live in Colorado. Obviously, the biggest. There's mountain lions, but really
You're in like
the
Canyon
closest thing.
City or somewhere.
What's that?
You're in like Canyon City.
No.
or something.
I'm on the western slope, just outside
So,
of Grand
like,
Junction.
Grand Junction. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like, or as I like to call it, the desert part of Colorado that nobody realizes Colorado has a desert.
Yeah.
but the big thing out here is they have
shooting facility out there.
Southwest. Oh yeah, well, they were going to put the headquarters for BLM out here, and
Yeah.
they had it for a while, but with
An
Trump.
absolutely fantastic shooting facility out there, by the way.
Yeah, but the biggest predator is the coyote, and those aren't really predators by
Right, and
by the
that's
statute. You'd think of like a wolf or something, or a bear.
Yeah. So, but the coyotes are a problem because they hunt in packs, and their natural predator is the wolf. Humans are the natural predator of the wolf. However, if you literally tell humans they can't shoot wolves, it's against the law. Nothing stops the wolf from getting out of control.
Right.
So what happened was several years ago, probably 10 years ago now, what they decided to do was to reintroduce a pack of wolves. I think there were 2 separate packs so that there would be less inbreeding and stuff. And the idea is that they were all, they were going to monitor them and all of that. But I don't think they realized that wolves can range 30 miles a day. Right? Like, it's nothing. They don't care. And the state, not wildlife management. I absolve wildlife management, as stupid as they are. They were not the ones to say this. The state said they're not going to go after cows. Why would they? Oh, pardon me.
Bless you.
Pardon me again. Why would they go after cows? They're not going to go after your cows. Maybe 1 or 2 here and there, but it's not a big problem. They're not going to diminish the elk herds. The elk herds are great. Everything's great. And all of the above, right? And so what happened? Well, you can guess. What happened is that the wolves did what wolves do, and they bred like rabbits. And then the wolves started killing elk, decimated herds, decimated mule deer, they're going after the moose herds. And now, because it's just plain easier, they're killing cows. And it's terrible. Tara Finley, the problem with available food will keep the wolves under control is that we have ranchers. And ranchers, their entire job is to make a lot of food. So, it is what it is. It was really a bad idea to put them back into the ecosystem. It was an even worse idea to basically not track them, which I can't really because they range so far. But anyway, terrible. And that's why our government should never be put in charge of anything much larger than a shoebox. And I have my doubts about that.
Yeah.
So, yep. I feel like we lost Richard. He must have gone to use the restroom or something. So, Clover Tack, what have you shot anything cool this week?
I've got a little pistol, 6-shot repeating pistol crossbow from a company called Steambow that I've been playing with. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
So let me ask you a question, Clover. I don't think it's the same, but in Colorado, they made a thing now the last couple of years that in order to get a hunting license, you first have to get a fishing license.
That's interesting.
And yeah, I think it's their way of trying to. So then, not only that, but then you have to before you can get the lottery for the bigger tags, you have to get a small animal. So they make you pay more.
Okay.
I mean, it's
yeah, sure.
But
yeah, Colorado's really bad.
But
so that's all state. So it's all state by state. Like
yeah,
each state
I'm just saying, it just goes to show you,
yeah.
So how the idea of requiring you to have a fishing license to get a hunting license.
Yeah, that's silly. I don't agree.
And then to get a big tag, you have to or get like a cow or something. You have to get like a small license for like a rabbit or it's like
basically you have to work your way up the chain and have everything to get the one.
Yeah.
So the Colorado's a really interesting state when it comes to that. First of all, just getting an elk tag period is hard.
It's extremely hard.
Hard.
A lot of people go archery with elk simply because it's easier, even though they really don't want to do archery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get an elk tag period is hard. To get, obviously archery is easier, but it's still hard. If you can't get if you want to get an elk, you can often find a guided hunt.
Oh yeah.
But it's stupid expensive.
Yeah, any of your guided or trophy hunts.
Literally everything about the wildlife management in Colorado is directly tied to how much money they can make off of you. And it's really bad. It's been bad for a while. It's just been getting progressively worse, and it's just pretty terrible. I personally, the only way I got an elk tag when I lived there was I wanted to hunt an area that nobody really hunted. And it was very rough country. And I put in for the same area 3 years in a row. And the third year I had enough points where I was basically guaranteed a tag. Now, their lottery system sucks, but it ended up working out that I did get a tag. It took me like 4 years to get a tag. I did get an animal. I had a shot, and no shot that you get in Colorado is going to be close. There are guys that come up from like Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, where you might get a 150 yard shot at an animal. The closest shot I had on an elk during my hunt, which was about 8 days. I was out about 8 days. The closest shot I had was 400 yards.
Yeah.
It was the closest I could get to one.
Yeah, that's about right.
And there was just no way to get closer to them. I don't know how people archery hunt for elk because I have no idea how they're getting close enough to kill one with a bow.
My 16-year-old nephew got one last year, and I'm telling you what, he reminds me of Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I always say when the apocalypse comes, I'm gonna find my 16-year-old nephew and go, okay, I'm gonna hang out with you because you're
whatever you do, I follow. There you go.
For that young, he's just such a good hunter, and he's just really good.
Yeah,
it's so funny whenever I go to their house because every time I open up a freezer, there's like a dead squirrel. It's like I swear, it's like some dead animal in the freezer. It's like I found that. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
meat, baby, meat's meat.
Yeah. I have but yeah, I mean it's pretty terrible. The state of affairs in
Oh yeah,
in
it's
Colorado.
getting bad to where I used to be a red county, and now it's a purple county. So it's
in Tennessee, where I'm at, in the county I'm in, or the area that I'm in, there's you can shoot I think you can shoot a deer a day during season. Like if you can, I mean, physically, like if
That's
you can
insane. We've never been able to do that. Of course, our season, the rifle season, is nearly 3 months, and then archery is an extra month. So we've never had that.
Yeah.
The most we've had with does and bucks combined, or does, bucks, and culls combined.
Yeah.
I think the most I've ever seen in my lifetime here is maybe like 4 in a season.
Yeah.
Like that. But different parts of the country are different too. So
we have so many deer. I can drive. Look, I live a 3/4 of a mile from the county line, so I'm technically in town. And there's a herded deer down and a flock of wild turkeys right down the street from me. Like I'm actually not. I wouldn't be shocked at all to come out in my front yard there'd be a deer tomorrow morning.
I wish we had turkey here. We don't. They've tried to reintroduce them, and I've talked to Parks and Wildlife many times about it. And they what they did is they pulled northeastern turkeys, like the traditional turkeys you see, like whatever Thanksgiving drawings and that kind of shit, and the pilgrims type turkeys. The East Coast and the northeastern turkeys, they tried to introduce those, and between the coyotes and the fire ants and just everything else here, it just didn't work. And I'm like, why did y'all not go to South Texas and get I understand they're not the big beautiful turkeys, but they would be way more acclimated to this area than trying to pull them from halfway across the damn country. That just made no sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I wish that they could get turkeys going here. It would be so great to be able to go out and get some turkeys. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, we used to not have turkeys here, but now we do. So it's I don't know why they have, and I don't know, man. They introduced them, and then they've really controlled the seasons. And other than that, man, it's done. It's a big deal. Hey, Richard's back. How are you, Richard?
Better than I deserve, boss. How are you?
Yeah, sidetracked down this hunting path.
Hope Glenn's okay. Yeah, I noticed he dropped.
I think he was having internet issues earlier, and he dropped to fix them. So I hope that he dropped to continue fixing them. So he could just be really tired too. He's it's not the he's not doing the unfortunately I don't think he's doing the best today. But it's not the end of the
one day at a time.
Did he get sick or something, or
yeah. So I'm not really sure what exactly happened. Other than that, we know that he had blood clots in his lungs. They probably came from his legs.
Yeah.
From the injury that he had in the automobile accident a few months ago. And
that happens after after my back surgery. I got the blood clots in my leg, and I had to be on that stuff that thins it out for like 3 or 4 months. I mean, you got to watch it whenever you go to the hospital or whenever. I mean, you're bound to get clots, and so.
Yeah. So he went into the hospital a couple of days ago. Freaked everybody out because he didn't tell anybody or anything. He sent me this picture of, because he couldn't talk because of he couldn't breathe because of the blood clots in his lungs. Right. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Sends me this picture that's like crazy. It's got it's got like the hospital armband, and you can tell that he's in the hospital. He's in a hospital gown, and no explanation, no nothing. I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
I was hoping it'd be okay, because if he got sick, I'd be like, well, I hope he didn't eat at a McDonald's in Colorado, because they found massive E. coli breaking all the McDonald's here in Colorado. So
we, in this day and age, and we're going way off in the deep end on weird stuff. How is it that we still have, like, every year there's a restaurant chain? And it seems like maybe every 6 months there's a restaurant chain that all of a sudden has E. coli or salmonella or something that is so simple to not have. Right? Like, just
it must be Trump's fault, right? Because he went to McDonald's. I could see them saying that, Brett. I could see him saying that. Because that, like, right after he left, they said, oh, that one it failed its health inspection, and it's like,
yeah, it's terrible.
Speaking of which, it's bad when they get like Bruce Springsteen and Eminem and James Taylor and all these, celebrities out. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So can you want to try and explain Christian anarchy to Richard before I have to call it an evening?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it in like the kind of brief way that I can.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot to it, obviously. But the best way I can say is that Christian anarchism claims that we only have one true authority, which is Jesus Christ. He is the King. And therefore, any human government or human authority over human societies is not authentic to true Christian authority and to godly authority, and therefore we usually denounce the government for not so much for existing, but whenever it has to use immoral means in order to sustain itself. And also, I would say the other expression of it is volunteerism, the idea of socially grouping people together based on collectively coming together and choosing to engage in whether it be whatever enterprise that is, but building from the bottom up. And then also I would say that it's focused on horizontal instead of top-down leadership, and it usually tends to be pacifist, and it usually rejects militarism and use of force of violence, and is usually based on the Beatitudes. There's other stuff to it, but basically I would say that for me, especially, I denounce, any type of worshiping of government for the sake of its own authority. It doesn't have authority. Any authority the government has, it's given by God, and therefore any government that would establish anything that's contrary to God should be disavowed. So.
Well, I can certainly see several places in Scripture where, including the ones that you mentioned and several that you didn't, where an attitude like that could be justified.
Right, and I also say that I don't think God wanted us to be ruled by men. In fact, I think He wanted us. He gave us the ability, I think, to have. When we were created, He gave us the ability to have an understanding of morality, and the Bible says that the government should be tyrant against the conscience of men who would want to break it in the first place. And therefore, government really isn't for people who are Christian, who are law-abiding, not law-abiding, but moral-abiding Christians, but for people who would need to abuse the law. And then that's why I could argue that that's why it's okay to have, jails or prisons, because people who in society cannot learn to live in harmony with society or learn to respect basic principles of society should be living in their own society away from where they could harm it. So
fair enough. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah. But I would say if you're ever interested, the big people who were advocates for it, one of them is Leo Tolstoy. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he's a Russian author. And another one that I would advocate or would suggest reading would be Amon Hennessy as well.
Yeah, I think the only book on the planet worth reading is scriptural texts.
Gotcha.
I don't read other things.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, other than instructional manuals, technical manuals, and such like that.
Right, that teach you actually how to do something like hands-on type of thing.
Give you some useful skill.
Yeah, I can respect that.
And now I would give you future pushback. Maybe not tonight pushback on Grid One, who's been very, very patient with us, and I do appreciate that, sir. I truly do. Thank you. If it is true that the angels being referred to are Jehovah angels and thereby good in the story of the Garden of Eden, when it reads at the end of the narrative, man has become as one of us, knowing good and evil. And if it's true that it's good that we have a Bible, we can learn good and evil, then it is good to learn the difference between good and evil. It's good to know evil because then you won't accidentally commit evils. And it's good to know what is good because then you can actively and progressively commit good acts on purpose. So it's obviously and evidently true that it's childish to not know the difference, and it's a good thing to know the difference. So when the angels declare, look, man has become as one of us, knowing good and evil, why would anyone interpret that as a negative thing Adam and Eve had done?
Was that directed at me or was to John?
Just generally putting it out there. Okay. As an observation to provoke thought that a person might have better reason for the hope that is within them.
Okay. I mean, I would agree that you must know to know what's truly good, you must know what's truly evil.
Of course.
I mean, that's just the way that is just an is.
Let me ask you a question back. Can you warn or advocate or teach your children about the harm and danger of things such as pornography without exposing them to pornography?
You're going to expose it to them at some level, just proposing the idea.
Okay, so my point is, what I'm saying is, if you can, so you would be aware that for you as a parent to even mention that, you would be exposing them to that, right?
Yes, you would.
Okay, so in that sense, should you still tell your children not to watch? Would it still be wise to tell your children not to do that kind of stuff when they're of age and responsible enough to know, or have some of the kind of urges or whatever that teenagers usually have, or kids?
Well, don't get too much into justification. You're just going to make my brain fall out. I'm not that smart of a person. I need things to be very, very simple.
Okay.
So
the reason I ask that is because there is there is a time where you could say that, and I'm looking at this from a logical perspective, because the real shutdown answer to that from a biblical perspective is because God said, don't do it. And if God says not to do it, right, then that would be reason enough not to do it. If you think that God's authority is ultimate.
I don't think I need you to expound on it other than to say divine command theory, which you've said.
Right. But if we're going to look at it from a logical perspective, I would say that if you're trying to, I'm saying that if you a lot of times people trying to protect their kids will not talk about certain things, because to talk about those certain things is to be exposing them to those things. And so was there a reason? I don't believe there was a reason at the point, but I would argue that there are times and places where admonishing people or speaking to an issue, when someone says, hey, dad or mom, I was interested in this, please don't talk about that, don't do that, that would actually be more of a benefit to them. Because again, I do believe that you can actually raise and instruct your children and give them good instruction without having to show them the quote unquote bad in the world.
What do you mean by show? I'm lost.
He believes that the child does not have to touch the stove. I think he's wrong. The child will touch the stove.
Exactly. And that's kind of, and I'm just, father of three, grandfather of three at this point, right? So, it's, I would say for me, when listening to that, and maybe I'm just confused, it's entirely possible. I'm a simple redneck. But it seems to me that it's more of a timing issue. So, if you set your 12-year-old down one day because you heard through the some kind of social circle that little Johnny neighbor boy got caught looking at porn on his phone, and you show your kid porn and talk about it, that's kind of dumb. But if you're being a parent and you're paying attention to your child and you have open lines of communication with those children to where they're free to speak their mind, bring things to you, that sort of thing, then there's going to be a time when it's like, okay, the sexual thing comes up, and as part of the sexual thing, you can get into sexual immorality, right? Which would be obviously corn. And you don't have to show them that, but to say that they're, here's the way that it should be, and anything outside of that, you should refrain from, stay away from, that's wrong, that's a bad path to go down, that sort of thing.
And the whole reason why, and this goes back to the thing, is it's not so much about the knowledge, it's about the reason why what you want to do with that knowledge. And clearly when Eve ate of the fruit, not only in her own sin, but of course in the temptation, there is also the problem of knowing that part of the reason why she wanted to in the first place is because she felt like she could have been left out. There was a thought of, I wanted to know the same thing of God. And there's this idea of that somehow we have to know certain things. And I think a lot of us would not want to know 100% what's going on all the time with things like, whether it be like how close we get to certain wars or whatever. I mean, sometimes there's a benefit to not knowing certain things and not actually having those certain experiences. Obviously, as you said about the child in the stove, there are going to be experiences that are learned through posterior knowledge, but there is also something to be said about warning against what happens with knowledge. And most likely, whenever you see people go after the pursuit of knowledge, then they test out that they look for the boundaries of that knowledge. And then it gets into a whole other thing where then we go past finding the boundaries of knowledge and going and trying to say, once we get past that, how further can we go? And I think that's what we see with, say, Oppenheimer. We see that with the bomb. There's different examples throughout history, I would say, where that pursuit of knowledge was bad.
Okay. Well, you've gone right into describing why a person should know good and evil.
So I'm gonna and guys, I actually really like this. I hope that we can maybe pick this up again, maybe tomorrow evening when I'm back on. But I'm gonna just kind of give my opinion, and then if we can do final thoughts, that'd be great. My position would be is that much like John, I think that you can know a thing without having to know all of the aspects of said thing. So I would think that in the specific instance of corn, if you were teaching your son about the, I guess, good side of physical relations between men and women, sex, whatever you want to call it, then by extrapolation, he can understand that there is a bad side of it, and that when done for the wrong reasons, whatever those reasons that you as a parent define for your child, who then later does some sort of internal critique and finds your reasons wrong, and then finds their own reasons for what is right or wrong, as we all have done. I would assume that we still do not understand those things as our parents taught us, I would think, but we could still convey that this version of this is bad without having to pull out a Penthouse or whatever they have now, Playboy. I'm old, so I gotta default to my knowledge. So I just think that that's kind of where we're at. It's a great discussion, actually.
They don't look like that no more, Grid. They don't look like that no more.
Yeah, less airbrush.
They actually never did.
This is true.
Yeah, right. I had $2 come in from the Raging Patriot. What's a good ointment for hemorrhoid flare-ups? LOL. I'm not really sure what that referred to, but it's funny.
Aloe vera.
Like
Aloe vera. Grow it.
Yeah,
Aloe vera.
That's true.
Give them the actual answer.
Why don't we start with Clover Tack and work our way around for final thoughts, and then I'm going to send you guys over to Torsia if she stays live long enough, and you guys can go pester her for however long she stays on.
So for my final thoughts, I think it was Cam the King out there. I'm going to address something he had and indulge in a little gun prattle for a second.
Sure.
But he was talking about a Gerson regard that he had seen, I think, in the LGS or something like that. Phenomenal handguns. I'm a big fan of the Beretta 92 iconic design. Just the silhouette of that is easily recognizable anywhere. I own Berettas, I own Taurus, and I own Gersons. As far as base model goes, my opinion is the Gerson is the best of the three, even above the Beretta base model. The reason why, the Gerson is a little bit beefier. It's more of a Brigadier model 92, rather than like a base model, like a 92 FS or honestly, or even the M9. And so if it's any kind of a good deal, I don't want to get into all of that, but I think his message out there alluded to the fact it was. That would probably be a good pickup. I think you would enjoy going to the range and playing around with that, and it would probably make a little bit big for carry, in my opinion, but probably would make a fine, home defense handgun if that's what you were looking for as well. So there you go.
There we go. That's awesome. All right, Mr. Mosman.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. I'm sorry I came in too late. It seems a bit of late that seems to be happening.
That's all right.
My final thought would be of the conversation that we just had. I have never done drugs, and I've never had to experience drugs to know how bad they are. And so therefore, I would argue that there are things you don't have to experience or have to know firsthand to know they're bad. And the other thing I would also say is if you guys are interested more in Christian anarchism, I'm doing on Sunday I'm finishing up my part 3 series on the live. We're going through a Christian anarchist view on Matthew. So last week was the kingdom of heaven. What's the kingdom of heaven look like? And now we're going to be talking about how you can't serve two masters. So, and that's it for me. Thank you again.
Oh, no worries. Richard?
I think it can be shown that universally amongst Christians, there's some parts of the text that they're either in cognitive dissonance, or their church just doesn't talk about that part of the text, which would defeat their own beliefs about the text. And I think that if the Bible is the Word of God, and I do believe that it is, and that it's inerrant, and I do believe that it is, then all parts of it should agree with each other, or else you've got maybe a schizophrenic God. So in order to not ignore parts of the text, which parts I would point out to a person they're ignoring, I think that the reader's attitude and reading lens of the text needs to change, and not the text.
Okay. I don't, I mean, this is going to be a great subject to talk about, because again, I've never had a drink. I've never drank alcohol at all, never touched the stuff. My brother died of alcohol poisoning. We're the same person, technically, same parents. One of us went one way, one went the other way. It's a very interesting argument to break down. Your logic is fairly sound. I mean, honestly, the logic is good. I'm just not sure that it. I'm not sure how I would have to come at it to make it really. How to make that work in my head, because again, I can see how, without actually knowing a thing, I can know a thing, right?
That's not my argument.
Okay,
not my argument
maybe it's just late, and I'm not really getting.
No, that just came up in the conversation. That wasn't my argument.
I got you. Okay.
But,
okay, maybe.
But the Lord tarry, and willing, we will continue.
Yes, absolutely. I will. And guys, just so everybody knows, I will be live again tomorrow evening, which is almost today evening. Same time, 8:05 Central. I think we're still on daylight time. We're getting ready to change over to standard time again. And so Central time, 8:05. Tomorrow night will be a chill stream. We're just going to talk about whatever. Richard, you are welcome to come back, and we can continue this discussion and more, much more. 9:05 Eastern time, and it'll be a great evening. Again, it's going to be a very relaxed stream, hopefully, and so there's that. As always, glad to have the guest here. Really happy to see everybody again. I haven't talked to you, Richard, in a while. I've seen you on other panels and that sort of thing. I just, of course, I never really have time to jump up on other people's panels, so I probably should, but I don't. And I've got we just had a lot of really cool, interesting things going on lately. So I'm going to, instead of redirecting you guys to Torsha, I'm going to redirect you to Glenn, who is starting a fresh stream up. I think he's got maybe 10 minutes, so you guys can get up, go use the restroom, get your next batch of soda or whatever you need, water, whatever, and then settle in for a good time. And I'm going to read. Torsha is just kind of, she never goes. She generally just kind of, she'll go for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then she's out. And I know you guys want something more than that, more substance. You want more substance. Feels like I'm leaving something out that I should have covered, but it's late.
Did you remember to promote your channel and ask people to stroke the algorithm?
Yes. Everyone, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. consider becoming a member. It's, you know, I've got the lowest tier priced at less than a cup of coffee. Everyone seems to really like the memberships, and all of it helps. I see you there, Flow State. It's too bad you're late. We could have had you up. Could have made fun of you, but you were late, and I wasn't able to make fun of you. Maybe tomorrow. And seems like there's something I'm really forgetting, but it's fine. You know. Yes, Richard, please.
Just want to thank you for the opportunity and experience. All of you, thank you all very much.
Well, thank you for coming, Richard. It's always pleasant to have you know, people on the panel. You know, I had you know, the subject for tonight was change, right? Change is inevitable. We will change no matter what. And so how do we deal with that? You know, what's that all about? And I think we've had very good discussions on several different levels and different directions about how that affects our lives and how and where we go with it. So I think that's I think it was honestly it was a great discussion. It's been a great show, and from my point of view,
you know, again, I actually want to bring that into the discussion on whether or not in heaven that's your great grandmother.
Yeah, we'll have to. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to send you over to Glenn. I'm not sure he's live yet, but like I said, get up, stretch your legs, strap in, get ready to have a great time. You don't. I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. Please be cool and wear glasses if you need them, and get off.
Yeah, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told you that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?